Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Yes. You have just stepped into the world of chaos. Where everybody goes hard. Come on. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Or go home. Never back down. You gotta hold your own. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Go hard. East Coast. Go hard. West Coast. Go hard. Midwest. Go hard. Dirty. Happy up, everybody. Get online, buy your tickets, cause the game about to start.
How you doing, bro? How you doing?
Good, man.
You gotta grab your booty too. Alright, no doubt.
How you doing, brother?
What's up, baby?
Fine.
How are you?
All right.
Pleasure, man. Booty for you.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, no trouble from the wife.
No problem.
I'll grab your jackets too. I'll show you all. I'll grab your jackets.
Welcome to Basketball Heads Live. I am your host, Glenn Poole Harding. And oh boy, we have a very, very special guest. This basketball head is a basketball legend in the world of grassroots basketball. And he just so happens to come from Long Island. Hailing from Roosevelt, Long Island, this basketball head founded the grassroots basketball program that has produced more than 20 NBA players, helping direct the legendary ABCD camp, and started the Fab 48 tournament, which has been changed to the Las Vegas Big Time, which was originally named the tournament that Sonny Vaccaro began in 1995. So listen, there's a lot of history going on here, so y'all pay attention. Currently, this basketball head also runs the annual Long Island vs. New York basketball showcase that bears his name. This basketball head is the CEO and founder of the Advancement of Blacks in Sports, ABIS, an organization founded to increase racial equity in collegiate and professional athletics, in which he has helped countless of NCAA coaches and grassroots coaches around the country. So, without further ado, help me welcome to the show, CEO of ABIS and New York's #1 grassroots basketball legend, my guy, Gary Charles.
Ooh!
How you doing, brother?
Can I go there?
Man,
I
listen.
appreciate that.
Nah, brother. I'm glad that we have you here, man.
Well, thank you for having me.
It's been a long time coming, and your name been ringing bells throughout the basketball community for some time now, man.
You know what? I watch your show, and I think it's a hell of a show. It's something that's needed. Too many times our history is forgotten, so we appreciate you making sure that that doesn't happen. Okay, so thank you for having me.
Nah, no doubt, man. Listen, I said this off camera, and I'm gonna say it again. I've done over 500 shows, man, in these 4 years, and when your name is brought up, not one negative thing has been said.
That's love.
That says a lot about you, brother. That says a lot about you.
I appreciate that.
No doubt. So, one thing I like to ask everyone who come on the show is, who introduced you to the game?
You know, I was 8, 9 years old, and here's something that people don't know. When we came to this country, I'm originally born from Haiti. We moved here, I was 7 years old, and I was going to a Catholic school, Santa Teresa of Avila in Brooklyn, a couple of blocks away from Eastern Parkway. And obviously, young kids were out there playing, and he told me, come on out, play. I didn't really know much, so listen, I'm just out there playing. And then I started watching the Knicks, and then the love grew, through Clyde Frazier. Okay, so so every time I think about it, and I think about the Knicks, because that's when the Knicks were really good. Okay, listen, I'm telling my age, but hey, talk about Dave the Butcher,
That's
Willis
right.
Reed, Clyde, Bill Bradley, and then Phil Jackson, by the way, Phil Jackson, and then here comes Earl the Pearl, afterwards. So that's what gave me that love to play this game and be part of this game.
Okay. So you actually played basketball?
Oh, yeah, I played.
Okay.
Yeah, I played. I know, you don't think I played, but I played. Now, so we moved to Long Island 5 years in after we moved in. Okay, so I was 12 years old. We came to New York. And by the way, lived right down the block from Jefferson High School on Sheffield Avenue. Right down the block. That's where we lived. And then 5 years later, we moved to Long Island. And for those who don't know, I grew up with Eddie Murphy, lived around the corner, Chuck D from Public Enemy, and Steve Mills, who's the former president of the New York Knicks, and obviously it's the home of Dr. J. So Dr. J grew up from Roosevelt.
Wow.
So I was there actually when we honored Dr. J, and I was there to go shake his hand, in which his hand just, oh my God, his hand was so big, man. My hand was gone.
Right,
okay?
right.
But I remember those things, okay? So, yeah, those were good times. Yeah.
Man, growing up in such a legendary town, of course, the only reason why I know about Roosevelt was because of Dr. J, right?
Okay.
He's my hero growing up. And then come to find out Eddie Murphy's from the same town, then me being a hip hop head, Public Enemy, like all these people, and then Steve Mills, and then you, like Roosevelt, man, produced greatness, man.
You and I were talking about camera before, in that you just living your life. You're not thinking one way or the other, right?
Right.
I can remember, being with Eddie. Eddie was always a clown, but a cool clown.
Right,
you know what I
right.
mean? He was like that cool guy who was a clown. And be like, Eddie, can you shut up, man? Because he would tease all of us, always have a joke, and we're cracking up laughing and what have you. You're not thinking he's gonna be this.
Right.
Chuck D, wore glasses, was really the mellow guy. Played baseball, played second base, so we played against each other. That's my boy. And the idea that Chuck became a rapper? No. Eddie, can't tell you, I'm totally shocked. But Chuck, it's unbelievable. But all of us were just living our life. We're not thinking one way or the other. And and then to find out all these people, Flavor Flav, all these people from Roosevelt, okay? You're proud. Makes you feel good.
Let's talk about your basketball, man. Like you playing, and where did you play at, and when did you start to really fall in love, like really after the Knicks? Well, let's just talk about you falling in love with the game and playing it yourself.
I think, 6th grade, once I got into 6th grade, like I was really into it. Matter of fact, I was voted the most outstanding athlete in school. Now, my dad was one of those guys like, you ain't staying in, you out of here. So I was all-star baseball, all-star in football, all-star in basketball when we traveled, because we had a traveling team. And when you really felt good was like when we traveled, in those days, you stayed in other people's homes.
That's right.
Okay? And most of the time, it was at a white person's home.
Yep.
And I gotta tell you, at that age, I had never heard the word prejudice or anything like that. These people took you in like they were your own.
That's right.
It was unbelievable. It's the first time, I remember the first time I ever got on a horse was a couple that had a farm. First time I had maple syrup from a tree. So I think about those things and it stays with you. Because we were considered, one of the better teams across the country, the Roosevelt traveling team with, Mr. Simpson, who was one of my idols, so to speak, okay? Because he coached me for goddamn everything. Oh my God. And back then, if you remember, coach could say anything to you. Coach would take out the belt and whip you, man. It was nothing. It was just, that's the way it was. And he taught me a lot, okay? And that's where the love started to grow when we were traveling. You bonded, people. And sometimes you remember the bonding part when you remember the game. Because now you're away with your team and just, having a good time.
See, let me explain something. He talked about when you traveled, you stayed at a white family's house. I remember Coach Harstein at Abraham Lincoln was my coach. When we went and played Shit in the Hole, we made it a weekend, right? He paired us with Shit in the Hole's team, and we stayed at their house.
How about that?
And that was a lot of our first time being in the White House.
There you go.
So I definitely understand that part.
So you understand exactly where I'm coming from. So
Definitely.
I never looked at these their kids
Right.
any differently than some of our guys. We were having bought. Listen, I remember one time we went to New Orleans. It was a biddy championship. Biddy basketball was big back then, in which we played an 8-foot rim. I thought I was Dr. J, man. and we played an 8-foot rim, right? Because we were young, 13,
Right.
14, what have you. And I remember this one family. The husband was a doctor. The wife was a principal. And I remember they were talking to me about what do I want to be. And then we would go outside, and they live in a cul-de-sac, a dead end, all right? In a dead end with a basketball court. And they would put the lights on, and we would be playing after I get it. I mean, those were magical moments, for us back then.
Who was your inspiration growing up?
Number one, my dad. So everyone understand, right? My dad wore a three-piece suit every day. Growing up, he was one of the first black person to work for IBM. All right, and I remember even in 6th grade, he came to the school because parents, teachers, conference, whatever. And he walked into the school. And by the way, my dad is 6'4". Okay, yeah, I got my height from my mom. But my mom's 4'9". All right, and when he walked in, and my dad looked like Muhammad Ali. As a matter of fact, sometimes they would confuse him for, "Hey, catch this Clay."
Wow.
Yeah, and the teacher was like, he looks good. I could hear them saying that, the women teachers. And I said to him, yeah, I'm going to be that one day. So my dad played a big part, but then Muhammad Ali. I'm old enough to remember when people hated this man. Hated him. Except for, us, but even some of us hated him.
That's right.
So I saw the transformation in which he became the most hated man to become the greatest of all time. So that's big inspiration, for me. I can remember, him bragging, all right? But I used to say, he's not bragging, he's just giving you facts.
That's
he's
right.
the baddest dude around. So that was big for us.
Man, so, you transitioned from junior high school. Did you go to Roosevelt High?
So I went to Roosevelt High first couple of years. Obviously I went to middle school in Roosevelt, and 7th, 8th, 9th grade I went to Roosevelt, and I remember as an 8th grader, the freshman team, I was on the freshman team, I was actually starting point guard. We won the county championship. All right, and to this day, me and my boys that were on that team, we still talk about it, we still telling the same old lies and everything else that came from those days. So that was big. Nice. At that time. But then my mom had me leave. There was an opportunity to go to this school called W. Trustman Clark, in which if you passed the test, you could go there. Academically it was better, but it was like 99% white. And I didn't want to go. So my mom said, just take the test, don't worry about it, just let's see where you're at. But I passed the test. She said, oh no, you're going. I said, I'm not going anywhere, Mom. Oh, you're going. I said, Mom, I'm not going. So first day of school, I went to school, okay? You see? I wasn't playing.
Right.
And it was amazing. It was like 99% white, and I'm on the school bus. I go on there. Chuck D had already transferred there. Chuck was a grade higher than me.
Wow.
Chuck was sitting back of the bus. Back in those days, you're the guy, so you're sitting back of the bus. And Chuck is just doing this. I'm like, Chuck! He nods at me. He said, you going? I'm like, yeah. And Chuck always just stay cool. That's just Chuck. He just always stays stiff or whatever. I'm like, okay. And because I honestly didn't know too many people. Because most of the kids from Roosevelt that were going were kids who were advanced placement, we call them AP.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I was in the B class, okay? But I passed the test. So I didn't really know too many people except for one or two guys who were from the team. And they were going. And so I went to Trustman Clark and played there after 9th grade.
How was life for you there?
You know what's amazing, and I'm gonna say something I just said to you earlier. Hey people, I'm not bragging, I'm just giving you a facts right now, okay? So I've been getting dressed since I was 9th grade. So here's a young guy like me who is like sharp every single day. Alright, I was that guy that went to Delancey Street every summer on the Orchard. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
Get my clothes, my brothers and and I'm clean every day. But I'm also a baller. And you know how that goes. You're a baller, you're clean, you accept it.
That's right.
I don't care what color you are,
That's
what
right.
it is. So I was not even knowing it, a dude that was getting a pass from all the white people there. Okay, because the word was out there, oh, this is gonna be the guy. This is gonna be the guy. So again, I started off in JV. I was starting point guard. One of my boys, he's starting forward or what have you. So everyone knew us, and every day I'll come in there, and I had a hat up. So that's the other thing. I wore a hat starting back then.
Yeah, because that's what's going to be my next question.
Yeah.
When did the fedora come in, and when did it become like a trademark? We can fast forward to that, and then we can come back.
So my grandfather wore hats all the time, and my grandfather, God bless his soul, died at about 108 to 113. We don't know which age because that's how far back he goes. And born in Cuba. My grandfather was white, for the record, okay? And he was doing that. But I also came up in the 70s, Blaxploitation, Superfly.
That's right.
Shaft and movies like that, okay? The Mac.
That's right.
And so I started to make it a staple. And I remember one time wearing it. And it was amazing the difference with the young ladies. Like the way they looked at me like, I said, oh, it's like that? Man, that was it. So I started to wear hats then. So matter of fact, even when I went to Tresper Clark, I was wearing it. And the assistant principal and I made a deal. He said, look, Gary, you can't wear the hat in the school. So I'm going to meet you outside. I'm going to take the hat and you meet me after school and I'll give it back. And I started doing that. I'm like, okay. Alright, so I wore my hat to school, but I would hand it to him and keep it moving. So I've been wearing it then. But then there was a period in college where I didn't wear it as much because now I'm in college, same thing, they wouldn't let me wear my hats. Alright? And then the Jerry curl came in. Now my mom was one of the first people in Long Island to start doing Jerry curls. So she had a business. So just about everybody in Roosevelt High School was starting to get their curls done by my mom. Because my brothers were there, she used them as guinea pig. Me too. I'm in college now. And she started doing that. So now I have my curls so I can wear my hats then. Because now my mom started really doing well. In her business. So I stopped for a little while. But then I got back doing it. But then again, I started to work on Wall Street. So I had to stop again. Alright, remember now, we're in Rome. Alright, and I'm one of the few blacks working on Wall Street. But after a while, when I really started doing the basketball with the team, my hat just became a permanent brand.
Got you. Yo, bro, you had Jerry curls?
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie.
What about Chuck D? I know Eddie Murphy donned it early on.
You know what? Like I said, my mom is doing it. You gotta understand. Back then.
It was a standard because my mom had it as well.
There you go.
Had it for sure.
It became.
For sure.
As a matter of fact, I remember I'm in college after my sophomore year. So the dudes, and we all had a nickname, right? So my nickname was Sweet Daddy. That was my nickname in college, right? I'm Sweet Daddy, all right?
Sweet Daddy.
Yeah, because I'm wearing clothes. And I had a car, so I'm always taking girls to the mall. So this guy said, man,
so you was an advanced player, man.
No,
a lot of us didn't have those cars.
No, I've had a car since I was 16.
Nice.
Okay, because I was working. That's the other thing. I was working to make sure I had everything I needed. So yeah, I had a car. I was one of 2 freshmen with a car at Chain. Okay, so anyway, so back to it. I remember guys coming to me and say, yo, I'm thinking about doing this, but I said, know what? So I'm thinking about getting a Jerry curl, but they want to make sure it's okay. And I said, hey, you know what, guys? I'm coming back next semester with a curl too. They were like, what? And they felt that if I said I could do it, they could do it. So a lot of guys started with a curl. And like you said, it became the thing. And I was looking out for my mom. I didn't care what anybody said. I always had my own mind.
Salute to moms, that's right. So you go to this really prestigious school, right? High school. And now you're trying to figure out what college you go to,
Yeah.
and you get to go to Cheney State.
Yep.
Did you want to go any other school besides
Yeah,
Cheney?
you know what? Yeah, I thought about staying home and going to Delphi,
Okay.
which was local. I thought about Newport's. I actually visited Newport's with this young lady on a school bus trip, but then she changed her mind and said, hey, I'm gonna go to Howard. And I hadn't applied to Howard, at that time. She was a, close friend of mine. So I go to college fair, National Coliseum, yeah, the college fair. Then there was a lot of people surrounding the guy. And the year before, 78, Dick Cheney had won Division II championship, the men team. And all the women there said, oh my God, I'm going there. I'm like, well, hell, I'm going there too. And boom, without even seeing it or anything, but just seeing what the man had to say, I decided to go to Cheney.
Tell everybody who was the coach there at the time.
The coach was John Cheney, the Hall of Famer, the Temple coach. He was my physical education, professor. It was just unbelievable. And the women coach was Vivian Stringer, another Hall of Famer. So, and let me tell you a funny story. So the first year, I'm a baller, all right? I go to the gym to go play ball. And at some point, these girls come in, and one girl says, we got next. I'm like, we got next? What is she talking about?
Right.
I've never seen that in New York. I hadn't seen it. I said, you know what? Let me hold on to my coolness and just watch what's going on. These girls proceed to win 5 games in a row. I'm like, what in the is this? Well, they turned out to be the Cheney Lady Wolves basketball team, who in 1982 ended up going to the first women's college championship.
Wow.
And they lose to Louisiana Tech in the championship. But what was crazy is when they did the shirts, and this is the 80s now, when they did the Final Four shirts, they kept them off the shirt. They had 3 teams on there, they didn't put Cheney there. Because as far as they were concerned, we didn't belong.
Wow.
True story. So, there at Cheney, I'm all around greatness. There's the Coach John Cheney, there's Vivian Stringer, okay? Now, Coach John Cheney would stop class 10 minutes early, every single time, to teach you a life lesson, make you sit down, and then talk about life lesson, what it is to be a man. I've never forgotten those speeches, and I used that when I got going. Because what I learned was, I could not guarantee you I could make you a pro, but I can guarantee I can help you become a better man. And I learned that from Coach John Cheney. So I used that when I started, my own. And so I think Coach John Cheney, and he did something to me one time, never forgot. I dislocated my elbow playing ball. Somebody undercut me, I dislocated my elbow. And it was funny because the young ladies I was with would carry my coffee, my tray, go to lunch, dinner, everything else for me, every day. And I go to class, I said, Coach, I can't take the final. I dislocated my elbow, so I can't, because we had to take X amount of jump shot. And he looked at me and he said, well, you got another hand, don't you? I said, damn. So he made me take 50 layups, all right? I never forgot that. What he was trying to say, don't use that as an excuse.
That's right.
No excuses right here, all right? You can do this. I learned that lesson from Coach John Cheney.
So now I'm seeing the basis for what will happen in the future with ABIS, and we're gonna get there later on, right? You seeing those things. After college, you decide to go to Wall Street, right? Like, was there a process before that?
Yeah, so what ended up happening is, and here's something that I tell players all the time, so, pay attention to this, sure. The best thing you could do as a student, athlete, is try to do summer internship in your field, because it prepares you for real life. So I had done 2 summer internships with this company out here in Long Island called Eaton Corporation. And I didn't graduate until that December, purposely, because I was making a lot of money during those summers. And they weren't taking no taxes because I'm a student. So I enjoyed it, doing that. Like, you know what, I'm not gonna kill myself, I'll just do another semester. But before I left that summer, my boss said to me, when do you graduate? And I said, I think it's around December 22nd, December 23rd. He said, okay, there'll be a job waiting for you when you get done. So by January 7th, like 2 weeks after graduate, I was going to work. My job title was a scientific program. I didn't know what the hell that is. But I'm a scientific programmer working in the B-1 bombers, back in the days around with Ronald Reagan, back then, okay?
Cold War time.
Exactly, there you go. And after working there for a couple of years, then I ended up working at Wall Street because I had the experience. But I've always appreciated Franz, wherever you at, shout out to you. He was German. And he had a job waiting for me. Matter of fact, the project I was working on that summer was still sitting on my desk to complete it when I got back.
Wow.
So he gave me that opportunity, okay? A white man, all right? German, gave me the opportunity. And I took it and I ran. And that's what you have to do. When opportunity comes, you have to be prepared for it and take it and run. And I took it and ran. And next thing I knew, I was working at Wall Street.
Like they say, you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
You don't have to get ready. Stay ready. I was ready.
What was your first job on Wall Street?
So I'm a systems programmer. And I was that guy that, and this is before laptops, okay? So this is a big computer.
Right.
All right. And I was the guy in charge of writing the software to keep the system going. Okay, so the upkeep, somebody came on, they had an issue, sometime I wrote systems program, not regular program, it was system level, okay, to make sure everything was squeaky clean. Alright, so that's what I was doing, and I was taking care of people from China, Japan, Europe. I'm the system guy, so the operators, if something happened, people would call them, they couldn't figure it out, they had to call me. So I'm the last line of defense. So people don't even know that, they just think I did brawl. But I'm getting phone calls 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, and Operation Gary, I'm sorry to call you, Gary, without problem. You're not sorry, God damn it, you keep calling me every damn night. But those are the things that I was doing. Okay, so even when 9/11 happened, I was part of the disaster recovery team, and my routines, my system program, were responsible. If something happens here, we're going over here. But we just did these tests all the time, not expecting anything to happen, and then 9/11 happened, and that was something else back then.
Did that kind of change your path for where you was at the time when you was finished with Wall Street, or you continued to work after 9/11?
Well, I continued to work. As a matter of fact, so for 6 months, I think we were in Maywood, New Jersey, and there was they would have a limo service pick me up, every day. But it was tough then because where I was at, all the money, financial money from across the country went through our systems. Everywhere it was going through our system. Again, we took this thing for granted, and we had 2 phones there, the black phone, the red phone. You didn't want the black phone to me because if it rang, I mean it was the government, and we had a problem.
Wow.
Okay, so it was level like that I was working on, and I will, honestly say to you, I'll probably concentrate 50% on that and 50% on the basketball, side, if you know what I mean. But I knew what I was doing. So when these things happened, I was ready to handle, some of these things. So it was kind of like tough knowing that, hey, the program better be working because this is real. So everything needs to be switched over somewhere else. And at one point, there was a day in which the money stopped. The money could not go through because there was a bug in the system. And myself and my partner, we had to try to figure out what's going on. And I'm getting a call, Gary, gotta get this fund. And if you watch movies where they have those command centers, well, I was in one of those at that point in Maywood. And had to figure it out. And I had to get my mind off basketball because at that time I'm sitting there thinking about 2 or 3, defense, or do I play 1-3-1 the next game? And, but it was just part of the flow. You just do what you do. And, so I continued to work on Wall Street, and it was all good. I enjoyed it because I was making good money.
You're making all this money, man, and making all these big moves and handling businesses from all over the country and all over the world, I should say. What would make you get into basketball, bro?
Well, you know what? So I came back to Roosevelt. As I told you, I had a job waiting for me. And I had also made up my mind that I was going to go back home and stay with my parents. And this isn't for everybody, but I had made up my mind that I was not gonna go live in an apartment because I didn't want to just throw my money down the drain, so to speak. That I wasn't leaving until I could buy a house. And also the other thing is that my parents had a 6-bedroom home, and my brothers were gone. They were all in college. So we had 4 bedrooms upstairs, so I was upstairs by myself. Where am I going? I'm good. Okay, I'm a guy, not a girl, so it's not like they were tracking my parents. And I was always mature for my age anyway, so it was all good. So within 3-4 months, I bought me a brand new car, a Camaro Bernadetta. Woo! With a T-top, red.
Right.
Woo! But within a year, I had saved enough money to buy a house. Okay? So I'm feeling good, but then all of a sudden, here come the gentlemen who were all there for me growing up. Now remember that I told you I played all those sports. And now they were saying, look Gary, our time's up. We need somebody to come and help with these kids. I couldn't say no to them, because they were there for me as a youth. So now I started like the basketball, kind of like a little camp in Roosevelt, and 200 kids to play ball. And I created a league, and I grabbed some of my boys to help out. Okay, you know, some of my childhood boys. I'm like, hey, Rod Barnes, I need you and some other guys. We were doing that. Then I said to myself, with these kids, let me create an all-star team and take them on some trip as a reward. The bitty basketball trip. They used to be called a Little Lad basketball down in Trenton, New Jersey. The first time I seen this kid, I think the kid was 12 years old at the time, but when I saw him walk in the gym, he walked like a pro, acted like a pro, then I watched him play. I'm like, oh my God, who's this kid? I said, oh, his name is Stephon Marbury. All right, first time I seen him, I'm like, wow. But that's how I got involved in the basketball. And then for a couple of summers I was doing that. Then we went to another event called Jim Dooley, the Delaware Shootout in Delaware. And I saw this other kid. I'm like, oh my God, this kid might have 40 on us. And the kid turned out to be Travis Best.
Wow.
And so now I'm starting to see opportunities for kids to be able to get scholarships, okay? And in one of these events, I'm thinking I'm done. And it's Dave from the Gauchos. He was playing in the tournament. He said, you're done? I said, yeah. Because, you know, in the suburb, we play all the sports. So
Dave
all good.
Yeah.
Dave.
Yeah.
And he said to me, I said, why? You guys are still playing? He said, what? Man, we do this 24/7. First time I heard that word, 24/7. I said, oh. He's the reason why that I really took it to another level.
Wow.
Hearing those words from him.
Yeah, I got a chance to chop it up with him up at the Bronx Basketball Hall of Fame, and that's someone I got to tap into soon. But seeing that he was kind of the motivation for you to start the Long Island Panthers, because you know you did this in the midst of Gauchos and Riverside running New York City, like running the whole metropolitan area. It was that team right there.
Hell, they were running the country, but yes,
yeah,
absolutely. They were absolutely right.
So when did you start to come up with the idea of starting the Panthers? Because you had the bitty team.
Well, yeah. So now, what I said to myself was, like I said, wow, here's opportunity for these kids in Long Island to get a scholarship. It hadn't happened before, and so I was asked by someone to help coach this game called the Lupus game, and that was to get the top players from Nassau County and Long Island against the Suffolk County. By doing that, it gave me the opportunity to meet some of the top kids in Long Island.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Gotcha.
And then I told them what my game plan was. And these kids, you just want to play ball.
That's right.
When we grew up, man, we went from one park to another to play ball. You just want to play ball. and that was the impetus of starting the Long Island Panthers.
Wow. And they still have that game today, the Nassau versus Suffolk.
So now, yes they do. And it's called the All-Timer game because Gordon Thomas took over, who played at St. John. Gordon took over and asked me, Dad, can you still stay involved? So I've been involved with that since the 80s, with that. And I don't coach anymore, but it's a good cause, and I coach that. All right, to continue to help raise money for that.
Man, that's awesome. That's awesome. What year did you start the Panthers?
So the Panthers started about 1988 because in 86, 87, it was the Roosevelt PAL back then. Because I was just doing the Roosevelt kids.
Gotcha.
And then I expanded it. So it started a couple years, like around then. I started it, and I got lucky enough. I had a kid named Derek Brown. Derek actually played for St. John, but he told me about this young kid. He said, you need to get this kid. And this kid turned out to be Zendon Hamilton, who was like in the 8th grade at the time. I went to talk to his family, his dad. And he was considered top 5 in his class. And through Howie Garfinkel called me one day and said, Gary, there's a guy named Sonny Vaccaro that wants to meet you. Do you know who he is? I said, yeah, I just heard him on the radio a couple weeks ago. Nike had let him go and he wanted to start his thing. And he said, well, Sonny's gonna call you. And I remember, I said, okay, I'm about to go jump in the shower. Before I could jump in the shower, my phone was ringing again. And this is before cell phone, as you know, Sonny called. Gary, y'all? Yes. This is Sonny Vaccaro. Yes, Sonny. I need to talk to you. I want to start this thing and I want you to be part of it. I want you to come to the Final Four. I said, oh, this is like brand new to me. And so I go out to the Final Four and meet Sonny Vaccaro and his wife. And after he finished speaking, I was like, man, any guy who can get this fine looking woman must be the dude. And I stuck my hand out and said, I'm rolling with you. And that's what started Sonny and I.
So, it had to be something you were doing beforehand to get them interested in you, because I know you just didn't.
No.
So let's go back. Zendon, right? Zendon was the star of the Panthers.
Yeah, Zendon, but he was top 5 in the country.
Right.
And now his Sonny, who stopped, didn't have Nike camp no more. Now he wanted to start the ABCD camp.
Yes.
Okay. And so he needed top players, and Howie Garfinkel said, "This guy got this kid, Sonny, who's all of that."
Oh, so now I get it.
Okay, and then whilst he's talking to me, he was also talking to Anthony Lopez to get Felipe, okay, to come to the camp also.
So the Panthers wasn't rolling yet.
No. We were playing, but we weren't rolling like that. No.
Gotcha,
As a matter of fact, sometimes when we travel with time, man, we're traveling in station wagon, cars, however we can get there. And sometimes we wore a T-shirt and put the numbers in the back. That's how we roll it. All right, and understand, the kids in Long Island weren't pampered like that. They just wanted to play.
Got you.
Okay, so I had the best of the best in Long Island, and then Zendon though was the key to us to get the first shoe contract of anyone. All right, and Sonny had me buy uniforms immediately, and it's amazing how with the uniforms we had, people looked at us differently. Now all of a sudden, we weren't has-been. We were that team.
So hold on. G, because let's get this straight. You were the first program in the whole country to get a sneaker deal.
First one. Now, this is before Kobe, before Nike, before anything. As a matter of fact, I tried to get Ernie Lodge to do a shoe deal. He said, for what? I don't need it. We're good. I'll never forget that. He said, we're fine. A couple years later, though, he was with Nike. But here's the point. So now, because of Zendon, Sonny felt that, okay, the only way I'm going to be able to get these, because he's now fighting Nike, was to give him a shoe deal. And here's the deal. Actually, the first shoes we wore were LA Gear. He was with LA Gear. He gave us LA Gears. Then he signed a 2-year deal with Converse. So ABCD, before really got going, was Converse. 1 year it was in Irvine, California. Then the second year it was in Ypsilanti, Michigan. But then I convinced Sonny, you need to move it to Jersey. Move the camp to Jersey. And he said, for what? I said, Sonny, if you move it to Jersey, the kids from New York that you normally can't get will not be able to come because summer school will be over and they could just come over the bridge. But by getting them, that means you're automatically going to get the kid in Jersey, which was pretty good at the time. Now, when the kids from DC and Philly hear about this, they're going to come. Top players want to play with top players. I said, now you're going to get Connecticut and the whole New England region. Forget about the kids from California. I said, we'll fly them in the day before. And that's how I got started. And you also say this. The idea came from Bobby Holford, who was the assistant coach at Fairleigh Dickinson at the time. Said, "Cat, why don't you convince Sonny to have a do the camp here?" So Bobby gave me the idea, and I took it and I ran, and I told Sonny, convinced him. And that's how that got started. But yeah, I was first. Now, what ended up happening is now, as I'm traveling and playing, at some point, I see, I meet Kobe Bryant's dad, who was recruiting one of my guys. And back then, in those days, and even now, because he was a coach, but he had a kid that was playing, he was allowed to go to every tournament, whether it was live or not.
You know when he was coaching that back then?
Yeah, he was at LaSalle.
Wow.
So he's coaching at LaSalle at the time, he was assistant coach. So he started talking about his kid all the time. So we're balling, we're kicking behind, he said, come and see my kid. And the more I watched him, the more I realized, oh. And Sonny had already put in our head like, hey guys, we're not going to be able to compete against Nike, so what we have to do is we have to find a star young. That was the whole reason for starting, giving a contract, so he could have his hand on these kids young and build relationship, okay, on the grassroots level, okay, starting young. And I said to him one day, I said, I think I found the guy. He said, what you mean? We already got the guy. It's going to be Felipe. Sonny, nah, there's this other kid. I'm telling you, that's going to be the guy. What's his name? His name is Kobe Bryant. Sonny thought about it and said, Jelly Bean Bryant's son? I said, oh, you know, Jelly Bean played in my first All-American game. Dapper Dan. I said, well, Sonny, his son? Why do you say that? I said, Sonny, I watched the way he interacted with his family. It's not just about the basketball, okay? I see the way he respects them. I watch the way he approached the game. He's a killer. I watch the way he speaks. Everything about him, Sonny, tell me that's the guy we want. So we went on, I think, for 2 years. Nobody knew. We were secret agents, all right? And again, before social media, before Scott, before all of that. And Sonny moved to New York. And people thought he moved to New York because of Felipe. That's what we wanted people to know. It wasn't. It was so it could be closer to Kobe and his family. So we would drive into Philly to have meetings. But we would go to Villanova game because one of the guys, Thad Fouché, was one of the top agents in the business now with Wasserman. Thad had a player at Villanova, Kerry Kittle. So we were going to the pretense we were going to see Kerry. And we did want to watch him because he could have been one of the guys we thought about signing. But Kobe lived 5 minutes away. Game is over, we just slide over there. We was putting everything together to make this happen. So once Kobe announced, and it happened, and I tell you, people were killing us. Y'all taking a high school kid? People were killing us. And when it happened, I was told, Phil Knight said, how the blank did we miss out on this kid? And somebody said, this short, smooth, suave guy got him, named Gary Charles. And Phil Knight said, that's never going to happen again. We're going to start our own. And that's how they started EYBL. And obviously, before it became EYBL, it was just Nike.
Yes.
You know, grassroots.
Nike camp.
Okay, just Nike camp and stuff like that. And but that's what started all of that. And one of the biggest compliments that I got is that Nico Harrison, who was with Nike at the time, who's now the president for Dallas Maverick, was working for him. And I remember he had got promoted with Nike, and I saw him when he had All-Star Weekend. I said, hey, Nico, congratulations, man. And he said, no, thank you. And I looked at him like, what do you mean? And he said, I know my history. Thank you. And he was trying to pay homage to me to say, it's because of you some of this stuff got started, all right? And now I'm where I'm at. So I've always remembered that, and so shout out to my boy Nico for saying that. Appreciate it.
So, we can say that you're the godfather of grassroots basketball. What can we call Sonny? Would Sonny be like the Don of all Dons?
He's the Don of all Dons. So obviously, he was the godfather, and when he retired, he said, you're now the godfather. Okay.
Because let's give people our history, because you talk about Sonny Vaccaro, right? The legendary Sonny Vaccaro. I first heard about Sonny Vaccaro when he was hooked up with the Iceman, George Gervin. He's the reason why George Gervin got to the ABA.
Signed the contract in a napkin.
Yes, which is absolutely.
Signed the contract in a napkin. That's true story. Sonny signed on a napkin to a contract. But
yes,
that's true.
I think he got kicked out of Central Michigan.
Yes.
Got him
Yep.
Central Michigan, and something happened, and then
You on point?
he got him to the ABA.
Yes.
And then he got him to the sneaker deals because in the Dapper Dan tournament, he would have everybody wear these Nike shoes, right? And I'm telling you, I was around when Nike was a baby, and you know, a lot of people wasn't wearing them. So to get them out there, Nike hired Sonny, and Sonny was able to spread Nikes throughout the country through his Dapper Dan tournament, then the Iceman, and then the legendary Iceman photo.
The photo, man.
Right?
The
The
photo.
show that we all had in our college rooms.
We all had them.
Right? And then he broke the Michael Jordan deal.
Broke the Michael Jordan deal. So Sonny was the guy. And what's interesting is, based on what Sonny's telling me, it looked like Phil was starting to get, I don't know what the word was, concerned that Sonny was getting too close to Michael.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And got pulled out, but like
was it Phil? No, we talking about not Phil Jackson. We talking about Phil Knight.
Phil
okay,
Knight.
let's
Phil Knight.
Yes, I did right about that. Yeah.
You know, obviously the owner of Nike. Anyway, so when that happened, you could either fold your tent or go the other way. That gave Sonny the impetus to say, "I'm not giving up. All right, I'm gonna show you." And so by doing his camp, because he owned the right to the camp, ABCD. So he took it with him. And so getting Zendon and guys like that was important to him. Alright? And so Goff said to him, well, I know Gary, let me broker that for you, for the meeting. And it's true, I wasn't an average person. Okay? I'm wearing suits every day. I'm going to work in Wall Street. Okay? So you're not just throwing anything at me. But I remember I went to the Final Four. It was amazing. I get there, it's the coach's hotel. So for those who don't know, at the Final Four, most of the coaches stay at a particular hotel. They're all there. And it's like unbelievable. You see all the coaches like, oh my God. And I seen a guy, it's like the biggest head I've ever seen in my life. You know, and I look over and it was John Thompson. Okay. And matter of fact, I met, Sonny introduced me to John Thompson and George Rattleman, who at the time was one of his closest friends.
Yes. He was on the both of them was on the board of Nike.
And Sonny's the one that helped get him going.
Wow.
Okay? All right, and people don't understand these things, okay? Because Sonny said to him, you need to diversify, get some people in there, and Sonny helped John Thompson get on the board. And I remember Sonny, we went down to the restaurant to eat. That was his office. He was there all damn day. And people just kept coming over, paying this man homage. I'm like, oh my God, what did I get myself into, you know, right now? Because I wasn't sure if this dude was a really Don, if you know what I mean, okay?
Right.
He was that guy, you know, at the time. But I had a good feeling that I'm wrong with the right guy. And I remember I was close to this guy named Mickey Walker, who had a program upstate New York. The Daniel Abram, the John Wallace. Mickey was my guy. And Mickey and I was meeting with Sonny and everything, but Mickey at some point wanted to just go with Converse and try to get me to go. I said, nah man, I'm staying with this man. And years later Mickey said, damn, did I make a mistake? Okay, so, because I decided at that point, Mickey, you're going to go that way, I'm going this way.
Wow. You guys made history at the ABCD camp. I was actually at my alma mater, so you see how all comes full circle, man. This is an awesome thing. And my coach was one of the first directors, right?
Yep.
Right.
Bobby Austin.
Yes.
So you know, Bobby was the guy. So even before I started, Bobby was already there, along with Gary DeCesar.
Yeah.
And then I came in, so we became the three co-directors of the camp.
Wow, this is amazing. This is amazing. So. Let's talk about that camp, right, and all the great players that came through there. I know we talked off camera about some of the greatest players that kind of passed, that, you know, we all know now, but you saw them as high schoolers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And what was the process of you going about getting them to get to the camp?
So you know what, it's amazing when you think about it. Okay, see, at some point, I helped Sonny get other grassroots programs across the country based on when I was traveling before it became a thing. We would still go to certain events. So I met these guys and we would call them. Who do you have? Who do you have? So that's how that happened. There wasn't social media, anything like that. you trusted the guy.
That's right.
Okay, and I'm a big mob movie watcher. You know, one of those like, that's your guy? Well, that's your guy, then that's my guy.
I'm a
Okay.
mob enthusiast.
That's who I am. That's your guy, that's your guy.
That's a
but
fact.
if that's not the guy, you get that bullet back in your neck.
That's right. That's right. That's
so
right.
we're trusting each guy to tell us this is the guy. And that's how we were getting the guys. As a matter of fact, there was a kid that one of our guys from Florida called and said, I got a guy. So the kid's not even playing high school ball. And he's telling us, this is the guy. And the kid, high school coach who when put him on the high school team said, call Sonny, don't put him on at the camp. And Pam made the decision and said, who is he to tell us who to put now? Sonny, invite the kid. So we invite the kid, he gets the last jersey. That kid turns out to be Tracy McGrady. Those are the things that went on.
And he became the number one player in the country because another kid couldn't make it, you had to fill that slot.
So we put him in. Lamont Odom, who was our guy, played for me, was number one at the time. And then Tracy came in, man, woo! It wasn't like Lamont was a slouch, because he wasn't. But Tracy was just that dude. And matter of fact, at some point, because we didn't really know everybody, so I'm just going at numbers, trying to pick who the guy is. I didn't want to hear reputation. And I'm watching this kid, I'm like, man, this kid's kicking behind. And I go over there, I'm like, man, that kid's kicking behind. And then someone I realized I was looking at two different kids. Well, the other kid who was built just like Tracy, whatever, turned out to be Stonewall Swift.
Yes.
They ended up going to lead, but they were built the same. I realized, like, oh my God, I'm looking at two different kids. Yeah. ABCD was that type of camp. It was just unbelievable. The talent every year that came through there. Right? And keep in mind, George Carl, who was the Denver Nuggets coach at that time, along with an assistant coach named Tim Gergerich, who was like another godfather in that world, NBA world, were working out the camp counselors who were kids who could become future pros. Okay, and they would be working out, and I was responsible for all those camp counselors. I'm the one that put them to work. I'm the one that made sure they showed up, work out, take them back, all that. That was, one of my main responsibilities. Okay, and there was a kid at the camp that worked out, and then draft time came. The team never worked him out, but they drafted him because they saw him work out and play 2 years in a row at ABCD camp. That turned out to be Speedy Claxton.
Wow.
Right, who played for us. And I could not convince Sonny to let him play in the Marble All-American game. Sonny was, I'm not putting a kid from hospital in an All-American game. I'm like, Sonny, I'm telling you, this kid is that kid. But finally, now the kid is playing, I said, I need him invited as one of the camp counselors. All right, are you sure? Sonny, let him come. 2 years, Speedy came, and he ends up getting drafted because of that. He would have gotten drafted anyway because Toronto was going to take him at the 23rd. But the Sixers took him because they saw him at camp, but they didn't tell anybody because they didn't want somebody else to get him before then.
So we could say...
True story.
We could say that...
True story.
5-star is legendary.
Absolutely.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But what makes ABCD camp a little bit more legendary than 5-star is was not only y'all was showcasing the best high school talent in the country similar to 5-star, but also you had the next portion where the camp counselors wasn't the college coaches. They were the future players for the NBA.
Facts.
So that's a twofer.
Oh, it's facts. And people don't, understand that, may not believe it, but it was a different time, y'all. It's a different time. It wasn't like people just saw these kids just like that, okay? It wasn't like now, kid could be under a rock, they're gonna find him. That's not the way it was.
That's right.
Back then, okay? You had to get the word in. So, yeah, so back to talking about in camp, this is how we were getting our guys. The word was out. And then it got to the point where I want to be at ABCD camp. Because, you want to beat that next guy. One of my favorite players of all time at ABCD camp was Steph. Because Steph, the way we were lining up, you had him play against every top point guard.
Okay, Steph who?
Steph Marbury. Steph Marbury. So, my apologies, y'all. My apologies.
Because, new kids like Steph Curry.
Marbury.
Right.
You're right. Let's say Steph Curry.
Right.
Steph was a guy, after the game would be over, he'll come to me and say, who's next? I'm like, Steph, you play so-and-so. Which court? You're going to play him right here. Okay. I'll be ready. Here you go.
He was headhunting.
What? Steph was unreal. He was headhunted. That was Steph. Not everybody's built that way.
That's right.
But Steph, woo! And I would just laugh like, yo, this kid is built, he's built differently. And that's how you could tell certain guys. And that's what I saw in Kobe, you know, at that time, like, oh, he's different. My Sonny. And Sonny was like, are you sure, Gary? You gonna bet your life? I said, I'm not betting my life on nothing. But I'm telling you, I think this kid's the one. And at some point, Sonny's like, okay, don't tell anybody. Don't tell anyone.
You know, what's so ill about you, G? Because Lamont Odom, who was the #1 player in the country, your guy. You guys invite Tracy. Tracy becomes #1. You could have slighted him because he was a latecomer.
Yep.
And keep your guy.
Yep.
Why didn't you?
You know, it's a couple of things, and I want to put this on record and make sure this is clear. I always wanted to be real, you know, with these kids. I didn't want to give them any BS. And it was easier for me to do it because I'm working on Wall Street. I'm making my own money. I was not going to depend on any kid to take care of my life. Okay. I didn't have to. So I could always be real. That's what I always wanted to do. So Tracy had earned it. And here's the thing with Lamont. By the way, the most impactful and most talented player I've ever coached. But he was lazy. He didn't want to work. I mean, it just came so natural to him. And I felt that you need a kick in your, kick in your ass. I mean, what did I tell you? Because I used to tell these speeches to these kids. Man, there's a kid somewhere in Mississippi, stretching his leg out, getting ready. You never know who's coming. Tracy, that particular year, that kid, that came. And I said, what did I tell you? What did I tell you? But you wouldn't know that because, again, the word is not out. Nobody knows what this kid is doing from Texas, Florida, or whatever. You didn't know until they showed up. All right? And guys were telling like, this is the guy, this is that guy. So we had a group of guys. In fact, we had like it's called something like the mob table. Al Rich from Florida is here. Dad from New Orleans. Say hello. Because we would have our DS reading. Said, Gary Charles from New York is here. Matt Irvin from Chicago. So it became a joke. Okay, that was like the table. So these are the guys you relied on to tell you, this is the kid from so-and-so. Bring him in, let's go. That's what would happen back then.
Wow. So the Long Island Panthers kind of had a kickstart.
Yep.
Because of the things you were doing behind the scenes and at the camp. So, like other programs who probably had a rough their first couple of years, you kind of jumped right into the mainstream.
I took off, and now everybody know that I'm one of the main guys for ABCD camp. So other guys now like, yo, I got a guy. Want to play with you because they want to make sure they can get to the camp.
Right.
All those things is now happening, and now we have a true contract. Okay, the word is out. Sonny, Kobe, everything else, and we became a place to be. And I'll say this, Ron LeClario, and shout out to my boy Nutsy, helped out because one day he came to me. He said, I got a kid, and I want him to get exposure. By you having Zendon Hamilton, he'll get that exposure because coaches are gonna see Zendon and they're gonna see him. I said, okay, yeah, bring him on. Kid turned out to be Skip to my loop, Ray for Austin.
Wow.
Right? So by getting Rafer, it opened up the door for us to start getting kids in the city. Now the kids are like, oh, Skip is playing on him? Oh, I want to be a Panther. And that changed the makeup of the team because now we had Lamar, after he came after it. Actually, Dwayne Woodward was the next kid out of Cardozo.
Come on, 40. Who's now coaching Rhode Island.
Okay?
Yes.
And another bum I helped, okay, in the coaching business, okay? That's my guy.
Yes.
And they opened up the door. It's funny, because Lamar was not probably the most impactful player we ever had. Probably the most underrated player we ever had was Speedy Claxton. I'm not sure we ever lost a tournament with Speedy. Speedy was that guy.
Let's get this straight. So Rafer was first.
Skip was first.
He was first.
First city kid for the Panthers was Skip Tumalu, Ray Foster.
Wow.
And I helped him go to JUCO through college coach who helped me. In fact, we were playing at Rucker Park. He was playing. And I had gotten a word, and when I got to Rucker Park, I said, got you a school. So what you mean? I said, you going to JUCO, man, down in California. So, yeah. So I helped him find that. Changed his life.
Wow.
Changed his life. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but Skip was crazy, man. Skip was crazy. I mean, I cannot tell you how many times I was yelling at that guy. I cannot tell you how many times I had to go get it from the neighborhood, if you know what I mean.
Listen, he came on the show. Skip been on my show. Actually, we first came on my show. He's the first guest I had back-to-back nights.
How about that?
Good brother. And then when all the stuff was going on in New York City last year, he came on again because he wants to see New York in a great place. But he was surprising me about all the things he used to get into as a youngster.
Oh,
he kept it,
God.
He kept it
real. Yeah. Listen,
Yeah.
and you know what was amazing? I would go grab him from the neighborhood, throw him in the van. But the fellas in the neighborhood like, yo, that's Coach. He tried to make him something, and he got a chance. Let him do it. All right? Yo, that's New York, man.
That's right.
Let the coach do it.
That's right.
All right? Get your ass in the van, Skip. Okay? By the way, you out of here. We getting you out of here. You need to be out of here. And I will love that kid forever, man. All right? Because even after he doing this thing, he came back. Skip ended up coaching the Panthers for like 4 years. Okay? He would lead the Miami Heat. You know, come over. Hey, we got practice.
Wow.
That's Skip. That's Skip.
And now he's coaching the Sun out in Houston, right?
Yeah. Okay? It's my guy. Always be my guy.
Yeah, that's my guy right there.
Yeah.
And you was talking about and then you said the next one was Speedy Claxton.
Well, the next one, so here's what's crazy about Speedy. Speedy lives right next time from here. He grew up right here in Hempstead, but he went to Christ the King.
Yes.
Okay? So 40 was really the next one.
Okay.
All right? And Speedy didn't come till after Lamont. All right? Because we ended up getting Lamont. And honestly, so Mickey Walker, how about this? The gentleman I told you about, Mickey Walker, from upstate. Lamont was playing with him. How's Lamont playing with this guy from Syracuse?
Yeah, the Gauchos, Riverside. We're going to get that straight in a minute. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Mickey's assistant coach, brother, was going out with Lamar's aunt.
Wow.
However he gets up there, however they're doing, so that's how Mickey ends up getting Lamar. Mickey calls me one day and said, yo, I got this kid. I want him to practice with you, but he's playing for me. You know, when we travel. I'm like, what the heck you talk about, Mickey? So, how do you even get this kid? Because I don't even know who he's talking about. I said, his name is Lamont Odom. Kid is really good, but I need you to watch him. All right? I said, okay. So, Lamar started to come to practice, and we used to practice in St. Albans at Foster Laurie, it was called, PAL Center. We would practice there. And Lamar lived 10, 15 minutes. Yeah, maybe 15 minutes from there. So Lamar started to come to practice. And one day I called Sonny, I said, Sonny, this kid's good. I said, this kid's better than, and I used, what is it, Shelton Jones. Shelton Jones? Shelton had played for boys and girls, played in the round ball. I said, Sonny, I think he's as good as him. He said, what? Yeah. Then the next weekend, Lamar comes back. I called Sonny back. Yo, Sonny, he's better than Shelton. He said, what? The next week, Lamar comes back. I said, Sonny, this kid's better than Felipe Lopez. Now he's like, what? I said, Sonny, he's that good. And that's kind of like what started it. And at some point, Lamar said to me, I got a kid. He's better than all you guys you got here. Who? Speedy Claxton. Oh my God. You know, honestly, I don't think the NBA ever got to see the real Speedy Claxton. And Speedy was just, you know, unbelievable. And I don't want to jump too far ahead because I got a story about that. That's how we ended up getting Speedy.
NBA champion.
NBA champion.
Yeah.
San Antonio.
And now he's head coach of House. But let's go back a little bit, right? There's another player I want to talk about too that I think gets overlooked. Being from New York, had a great NBA career. Probably was cut a little bit too short, but he's doing a lot of things on the analyst side. I know is Wally Szczerbiak.
Oh man, Wally actually played almost 15 years, so it wasn't short.
Oh, he did. So he did.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. Wally
okay.
played like almost 15 years.
Wow. Okay.
So Wally Szczerbiak, I get a call from my boy, Ron Butlers, who was the assistant coach of St. John.
Yes.
Gary, there's a kid in Long Island. You need to check out. See, I'm telling you, this is how I used to get people. People would tell you. Okay, that's how it happened. All right, people had to see it and they tell you, like, really? So reach out to the dad, Walt Szczerbiak.
He was the coach.
Well, Walt used to at that time was a scout for the overseas because Walt played overseas.
Got you.
Walt was really good. Walt actually became one of my assistant coaches, and I'm like, bring your son down. Kid comes down and thought to play, and I wasn't playing the starter, but we had a kid that got hurt named Stanley Martin from Westbury here at Long Island. Stanley actually went to Hawaii and played, and gave Wally a chance. Wham, the best shooter I ever saw. Wham, oh my God. And I remember Jay Wright was starting to recruit him. And where was Jay at the time? I'm trying to remember where Jay was at, but Jay was recruiting him hard. St. John was recruiting him hard, but Walt didn't want him at home.
But Jay was that house at the time?
He might have been at Hofstra, and I said, Jay, I don't think you're gonna get this kid. He might have been at Hofstra,
right.
you know, at the time, okay? Because obviously he's Long Island, so he had to be. I think he was at Hofstra. And it's funny because to this day I used to tease Paul Pierce. Wally in California hit a jump shot with Paul Pierce to win a game at the buzzer, and I used to see Paul. As a matter of fact, Paul was one of the camp counselors, and when Paul came in, I was like, Wally, you know. So it was funny, but yeah. So Wally, I'm like, oh my God. So now let's fast forward. There was an All-Star game, New York versus New Jersey. Okay, Gary DeCease and I were the coaches, and Stephon, he's balling, he's doing his thing, but not passing the ball to Wally. Call the timeout, and I grabbed Steph by the jersey, and I said, "You see this white kid right now?" Steph's looking at him like, he's gonna be a pro, but he doesn't know it yet. Pass him a goddamn ball. True story. And Steph got to pass the ball. Wow, man. And one day, Wally came to me, got to the gym, we were playing there, and he said to me, Coach, down to a couple schools. That's what he down to. He said, Miami, Ohio. And who, by the way, Sean Miller was the assistant coach at Miami, Ohio. Everywhere we went, he followed. He was there. Or hell, sometimes we get to the motel, he was already there before us. I'm like, man, how do you know you would? But they would tell him, the people at the front desk. I was like, for a while, I was like, yo, how you know where would I be at? So his room would be right smack in the middle of Wally doing the thing. And by the way, Wally was unbelievable. He was also a big time baseball player. Okay? Big time quarterback too. We would play football sometime between games, you know, in the back of the motel, and Wally would be throwing me bombs, man. This one I still thought I was on scholarship catching bombs. Wally was a bad boy. So, and he was down in North Carolina State. And he said, Coach, what do you think I should do? And I said, Wally, you could either be small fish in a big pond, North Carolina State, or you could be the big fish in a small pond. Which one are you? And he picked Miami, Ohio. And next thing you knew was Wally would go. But Wally was, you know, unbelievable shooter, and you know, probably I would say my top 5 Panthers of all time. You know, and you know, Pooh, that's another thing. When sometimes people say, well, who's the best? Well, what are you talking about? Are you talking about when they played grassroots? Or are you talking about when they became pro? Because it's not always the same.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Felipe is one of the best I ever saw. Felipe Lopez. One of the best I ever saw in the grassroots world. But obviously, you know, he didn't materialize the way people thought he should be. He still went pro. He still played, so give the guy credit. It's not easy to be a pro.
That's right.
Okay? But obviously, the levels were, you know, different. So when you ask me about a particular guy, well, I'll say, when we, you know, talk about, well, Wally was that dude. And by the way, I say, we won 3 straight championships in a row. Wally was that guy.
When I say it was I say.
When I say it was I say.
still there. Salute to my guy P. Evans, but it was a time when it was just like the talent pool in the ISA was unbelievable.
Imagine that. I'm talking about, Steph Marbury's on one team, Shamgar Wells on another team, Tim Thomas is on another team, and because of Wally, we ended up winning 3 straight ISA championships at that time. Wally was that guy.
He opened up the court.
He opened up the court. Yeah.
Let's just talk about New York basketball for a second. We're gonna get back to the history, right?
Yep.
And I know me and you talk at your classic that you give every year, which we're gonna talk about a little later. But just the conversation we had about guys leaving New York.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think guys who are having success in New York should leave New York for greater pastures? In their mind, I guess what they would think.
I think everyone is different. You gotta know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta know a young man. It's not the same story for everyone. And here's what I mean. As I try to explain to my mother, as far as I was concerned, I was gonna be successful whether I went to Roosevelt High School or W. Dress McCall. But there are some kids who needed to leave because too many people were in their ears on the wrong thing. Lenny Cooke is probably one of those who should have left, right? Because Lenny being in Brooklyn and being all that, too many people was in his ears for the wrong reasons. He needed to be somewhere else. That's why for a while he had left and went to Jersey, okay, and stayed with this woman named Debbie Bortner, who was really trying to do the right thing, for Lenny, all right. But not everyone needs to leave. So you just gotta understand, who it is and what the situation. But then it became a thing where everybody was just leaving. They thought that they should just leave. They didn't all have to leave, but some of them definitely need to leave. So it depends on, who that person is.
Well, we have a saying, and I'm not gonna say I'm the originator of it. I came from my former teammate and one of the greatest coaches in New York City history, Tiny Morton. He talked about the BAC, the Bad Advice Crew. Right? And you just mentioned it, the people that's in your ear.
Yeah.
It's like once a kid gets good, everyone goes, "Oh, you should go here." Now you done made a decision to go. Now there are some people, some kids who have made decisions to leave New York City this year and it didn't go as well.
Didn't pan out. Right.
It didn't pan out.
And
I always ask people, just name me the top 5 people who left New York City, went to Power 5 schools, and then went to the NBA. Just give me a top 5 who have left and done that. And people have a hard time doing that.
One thing about us in New York, man, we just have the grit. All right. I cannot tell you, even to this day, wherever I go, not just in this country, but the world, you're from New York, aren't you? How you know that? And they'll go, your swag, the way you talk and everything else. And that's the thing about us. So, because we have that, so when you're competing against each other, man, we're not worried about you. He wanted to go to Duke. If he was going to go somewhere, it was going to be Duke. But I always remember his dad, Jellybean, saying to me, I don't want him to go to Duke. That's what he means. He said, Gary, I don't want Coach K to get the credit for what I did for my son. If he goes to Duke, now people are going to say Coach K made him. He said, he didn't make him, I did. I'm not giving him that credit. And I never forgot that. And what I got out of that was that if you're that guy, you really want to be that guy, you can go to a lot of places and still be, that guy,
right?
So to speak. There are some kids, I think certain coaches, they should go to certain coaches will get the best out of them.
Right.
Kobe was not that guy. Now, in Kobe, what started to happen was that the more I watched him, Dad and I started to talk and asked me, what do you think? I said, your son got a chance to be that guy. And he said, you think you can get out of high school? I wasn't prepared for that at that time. Now, Kevin Garnett, remember, had done it. But Kevin Garnett was, 6'10".
That's right.
And I said, you said this? He said, well, Kobe asked me that question, and I wanted to get your opinion. I said, yeah, I think he got a chance. So he said to me, but we don't want to screw this up. And that's when I said, well, what about if I give you a guarantee? He said, what do you mean? I said, what about if I get you a shoe deal? He said, you can make that happen? I said, yeah, but we have to keep this low. He said, why? I said, it's gonna be a lot of haters out there. We need to keep this low. And then I reached out to Sonny. That's when the process, got started. I'm like, Sonny, I think I found the next one. We need to invite him to camp. And he said, what are you talking about? I'm like, I'm telling you, I think we got the next one. You need to see him. And again he asked, what's his name? I said, Kobe Bryant. And he thought about it. He said, you ever be Bryant's son? I said, yeah, Sonny. He said, Jelly Bean played my first Dapper Dan. I said, well, Sonny, he got that. Got the kid. And that's how the process started. And him and I and Thad Fouché, who's aged now, for Wasserman, put a plan together. How we were gonna make this happen. Okay? And it was maybe a 2-year process. And us just having secret agent meetings, sort of, okay, and Joseph at the time would drive to my house here in Long Island, in Roseville at the time. We'd drive to my house. Because remember that, back in those days, if you were home, people didn't get you.
That's right.
They didn't get you.
That's right.
So we would have to have a special meeting. I would drive out there, he would drive here. When Sonny came in town, I drove Sonny out there. All right, people not know really what was going on. So that's real though. But Joe was concerned about somebody else taking his credit for his son.
Wow. And Kobe wound up signing with Adidas.
So Kobe at that time was gonna listen to whatever his parents said, and the parents and I got extremely close. They believed me. Okay, and Joe said, that's the way we're gonna vote, Gary? I said, yes, the way we're gonna vote. Let's go. And I love that about Joe, about everything. Even when it was done, after we had the conference call, well, actually it was a meeting in Manhattan. They called Prince Street. Adidas used to have a store. And we had it in there, the press conference for Kobe. And afterward, the family asked me, you rolling with us, right? You're gonna, represent him. And I said, I can't do it. What do you mean you can't do it? I need to raise my girls. I had a couple of girls at the time. They were young. And let me also say this, I was working at Wall Street, so it sounded like I was broke. So meaning that if I'm not working there, I don't know what I might have said. You guys should feed your family. But for me, my kids meant more than $1 million. I wasn't trained up for anything, and I said, no, but I'll make sure you have someone good. And that's how we ended up with that Fouché, becoming the guy to go work for Arn Tellem. All right, and Arn Tellem is now part owner of Detroit Pistons now. But Arn Tellem at the time was one of the top agents in the business. He had Reggie Miller, he had Mark Jackson, and he also did baseball. He did a lot of things. He was actually living next door to Jerry West, okay, at the time. So that's the route we went. Sonny said, Arn's one of the best in the business. So I was listening to Sonny. Joe and the Bryant parents listened to me, and we made it happen.
Deal maker at his best. Wow. So, we mentioned Lamar, we mentioned Skip to Marlou, we mentioned 40, we mentioned so many players, right? Lamar Odom. You had a young Joakim Noah before Joakim Noah became the player he became. Lenny told me a story how he used to be around them when they were young. He said, they used to be cracking jokes to them, and he used to look up to Lenny, and he said they didn't know he was going to become the player he became.
No way.
Like, did anybody know about Joakim Noah before?
So Tyrone Green, who at one point used to coach at LaSalle, before I went down, I think he was coaching on our test. Tyrone Green I used to get players from Tyrone. That's my guy. In fact, that's how I got Tyrone to work at ABCD camp. And that's how I got Lenny and Curtis Sumter through Tyrone. All right. And he said, I got this kid. What kid? He said, Yannick Noah, the tennis player? Yeah, his son. He said, he's not that good, but can you please keep him around? I said, what do you mean? He said, Gary, is it okay? Can you please work the camp? Todd, he said, please. All right, Todd. So Lenny was our ball boy for 2 years. Let me see. Matter of fact, he's the one that was helping me trying to recruit Tony Parker. Joakim
was the ball boy.
Joe Kim was the ball boy.
Yes.
And because he spoke French, I said, yo man, I need you to go help me try to get this kid to become a Panther. And Joe Kim might have been playing like a young Panther team, but he wasn't, like that. So for 2 years. And the following year, boom, it's time, tryouts are happening. I'm keeping it because still, he's family now.
Right.
I'm like, this kid's not bad now. I'm like, huh? And I'm watching, I'm like, whoa, what's going on here? Now this is crazy. So we go to a couple of tournaments. He's balling. I said, oh my God, nobody gonna believe this. Again, nobody knows.
How tall is he at this time?
Now, he's like maybe 6'9", 6'10". Okay? Because he just kept going. Couldn't shoot a lick now.
How tall was he when you first had him?
Man, he might have been 6'5", 6'4", but he was lanky, he just couldn't play. Okay? And so now I'm seeing this, I'm like, oh my God, how am I gonna do this? Because this kid belongs in camp. But it's gonna be hard for me to convince people that this ball boy, but so,
Hard sell.
oh my God. So finally I called Sonny. Sonny, I gotta put this kid in camp. Well, who's the kid? Don't worry about it. I gotta put him. Who's the damn kid, Gary? I said, Sonny, belongs in camp. Kid's about 6'10", can do this, whatever. so he said, what's his name, Gary? So I hesitated. We on the phone, by the way. I said, Joe Kim, no, Sonny, hesitate for, a ball boy? I said, Sonny, he's not the ball boy no more. You got to be kidding me. You want us to invite a ball boy? I said, Sonny, he's not the ball boy no more. And I'm sure he reached out to Gary this season. I don't know if Spec, but I'm sure he did. And Bobby, I like, Gary Charles called me to tell me to invite the damn ball boy to camp. So at some point he called and said, Gary, I don't know if I can. I said, Sonny, listen to me. If he's not at the camp, I'm not at the camp. He said, what? You're gonna go? I'm like, Sonny, the kid belongs in camp. So now, go, fine. I'm his guy. It's okay. And also, I'm bringing players. Now remember that, we're the Panthers. That's the other thing. So now, what I used to do before camp started, so Sonny, I always had a suite as a room. I would bring all of my guys in. Here's what you're gonna do. Here's what each of you are gonna do to become, whatever. I said, Joe Kim, I think you're gonna be on the team with Andre back. Because Gary played a big part, and Tom Kachowski, in dividing the teams. Sometimes I gave input, but they were the ones, boom, whatever. You alright? I really didn't care, for the most part, who. But Joe Kim, it was important. And I think he ends up getting Andre Barrett on the team. Because Andre was his point guard. I said, Joe, all you're going to do is run up and down the floor. And Andre's going to give it to you and make a layup. If somebody else misses a shot, get the rebound, put it back up. Don't you dare try to shoot the ball. Don't you dare! Up and down, the layup, get the rebound. And that's what he did. And now school started to see him like, oh, and his defense was good. All right, and that was the start of Joe Kim. People couldn't believe it. But the only big man I thought outplayed Joe Kim that year was Al Horford. And they turned out to be teammates at the University of Florida.
That's right. That's right.
The only big man I thought outplayed him that whole year.
Was you afraid that if people saw Joe Kim's ugly jump shot, which actually he used to knock down?
Yeah.
But if you looked at it, you
ugliest. Yeah.
It's the ugliest shot in the world.
Listen, yes, I was worried. That's why I told him to, don't you dare try to take a jump shot. Okay? We're going to just tease people with what you know.
Right.
You got to work on these things when nobody's looking. But when they're looking at you, just do what I say. Don't try to do anything else. And I used to, tell certain guys, this is what you're going to do. Like Danny Green. I thought, Danny, do not take one or two dribbles. Get to your corner, take your jump shot. So you had to know your guys and explain to them how this process worked to try to get a scholarship. Because at the end of the day, Pooh, it was about getting these players a scholarship. And that's the one thing I never forgot. That's what this was about. And that's why I think we did a better job than most in doing that. And also, I think the reason that we ended up with over 20-something pros is because these kids listen. Okay, I would tell them, you're gonna follow the yellow brick road. This is how you're gonna do it. All right. And I think, for me, one of the biggest compliments that I received was when Lamont Odom on HBO said, my aunt wanted me to play for Gary Charles because he was a black businessman when we needed a good black person around. All right, and that made me feel good knowing that played a part in why some of these players were playing for me. Okay, because I kept it real, and I was a brother.
Not only that, and I think your background had a lot to do with it, because at a time when we need the best representation for us, a black man being in grassroots basketball, you came along and you was that for us. We had a lot of guys who was in it. They were street dudes, they were handlers, they were former drug dealers, they were guys who just came off from jail, and you wasn't none of that. You was a guy who came dressed sharp, smart, you came from a great business background, and you was something that kids could look up to and look forward to being. So you were very important, still is, to the culture, and I see why things worked out the way it did, and people respect you, because at the time, our young black kids in New York needed that.
Thank you, and I appreciate you, saying that. I was just being me, okay, and not knowing what was up. But then all of a sudden, you open up your eyes, and I will say this: there were times I was like, "What the hell am I doing here?" Around some of this stuff, okay, because I didn't need it, anything like that. But the kids needed it. You wanted to make sure you pointed these kids in the right direction. I thought that was important.
And we talk about a need, right? I told you the reason why I came in the space I came with, because there was a need, right? You didn't come into it for clout. You didn't come into it for money. There was a need. Someone needed you to do something for the kids out here in Long Island, and then it spurred into something else, right? And the Most High kind of used you to guide you to be in those positions, and you turned this into something major, right? Let's talk about the process of you going from, being the main guy that was getting a lot of these kids into college, right, to kind of helping them become men. Like, what was your part in helping them become men outside of the basketball court?
What I started to do was that I would be coming from work straight to, let's say, the Gaucho gym, okay, or certain events, or let's say ISA. And without having to say anything, they would see me with my briefcase with a suit on, coming from work. So right off the bat, these kids knew something else. They could see something different. The other thing I would take pride in was that if we were away after certain games, I would bring everyone into my room, sit them down. Let's talk. What's going on in your world? What's going on in yours? Well, here's what I think, what you should be doing, what you should concentrate on. They need to understand that, well, why should I go to college? Well, let me tell you what college did for me. So I would explain that. I would give them my roadmap and what made me successful. And at a time in which, like as you mentioned, there were a lot of drug dealers or pimps or whatever you want to call them that was out there. He was a guy, that looked like me, like them, who got a good job and working that they could look up to. Like, people don't know, I was, I think, 28 years old. I was driving a Porsche, at the time. I'm not bragging, I'm just giving you facts. My point is, I had that opportunity to be able to do that, and these kids are seeing that, and they knew I wasn't a drug dealer. They, and by the way, for the record, I've never smoked in my life. I've never drank in my life. I've never gotten high in my life. I've never done any of that. Because I had 3 brothers and a sister. I'm the oldest one, and my dad always told me, remember, they're watching you. So just remember what you do. And I took that, literally. And I, always stay clean from all of that. And, knock on wood, my whole family is successful people. Okay, because that's the route we were going. Like, when we were growing up in Roosevelt, even if you ask Eddie Murphy, people say, oh, the little Charles boys, oh yeah, they're going places. That's what people thought of us. Okay, so it never occurred to us that we were gonna fail, not to go to college. That's not even like a thing, for us. College, yeah, what do you mean? It's just the way it was. So it was important for me to be able to tell these stories. And I remember Coach John Chaney came to 40's house. He was recruiting him, and that was one of his final schools. And Coach John Chaney said to him, "Well, Dwayne, what do you want to be?" He said, "I hope to one day become a businessman like Harry Charles here."
Wow.
So it made me realize, oh wow, it's working. I was saying, I was like, oh, I was not expecting that. And Coach Chaney said, that makes sense. I remember Gary in college. We knew he was going places. And that, told me like, wow, people watching me. All right. And because of that, I knew that be careful of your moves. So it was always like, even if I wanted to falter, other people were like, no, you're that guy. I'm like, oh, you can't stumble, man.
That's
They're
right.
looking at you.
So you did some of the similar things with John Chaney did with you in college.
Absolutely.
And you did it for the guys who
I
played.
know, right. He every class he would stop 10 minutes early and gave us life lesson. How to become a black man in this world. What you need to do. The pride in yourself. All right? Be pride. Your mother, your dad, everyone's looking at you. This is what you have to be. Okay? Represent. And I was like in awe. Listen to this man. And I never forgot any of those lessons. And yes, and I wanted to pass those on, to all these kids.
Man, let's get something straight right now, because there was a rumor that circulating around the city that Lamont Odom played for Riverside, and he's a Riverside kid.
Back at, it's the funniest thing, because as we know, our history is not all the true history. A lot of our history has been, has not been told.
Yeah.
Someone else is telling our history.
That's a fact.
And I'm amazed in so many people who are telling these stories that weren't even around, time. And some are around, but let me, get that straight now. Lamar Odom, back in those days, people would call you and say, hey, can so-and-so play with me? Now remember now, this is about the kids. And we say, yeah. Jimmy Salmon, who had 10 Thomas players at the time, sometimes, hey, Jimmy, I'm not going anywhere. Yeah, this guy can play for you. And vice versa. Riverside and the Gauchos were the teams. And one particular time, we weren't going anywhere. We weren't doing anything. It was the Bob Gimmons tournament. And I asked, can Lamar play? They asked his family. They asked me. The family asked me. The aunt asked me. I'm like, yeah, let him go. Matter of fact, he played, so he went down to Bob Gimmons. And they actually lost in the championship. With the Elton Brandon team. They lost in the championship. I forget, to a California team, I believe it was. Okay? And because of that, people put it out there. So now there was a picture that had Elton Brand, Eric Barkley, and Anthony Glover.
Yeah.
Man-child.
Yeah.
With Lamar.
I put that picture out. Yeah, there's a picture. Yeah,
okay.
There's a picture. Yeah.
So because of that, everybody said, oh, Lamar played for Riverside.
Yeah.
Now, we were playing at the CYP tournament. I don't know if you're familiar, up in Portchester, Catholic youth tournament, in which it went back to the 50s.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, and by the way, and the gym was like no bigger than a closet. The out of bounds when it hit somebody.
Right.
And all the white kids in there wanted to autograph. It was unbelievable. Everybody, Chris Muller, Ultimate, all played in this event. We lost to Riverside that year in the championship. The year before, we beat them with Speedy. We beat them again. Matter of fact, Speedy got the MVP that year before. With Lamar, but Speedy was the MVP. That particular year, after it was over, they were all boys. They were taking a picture. Lamar went in the picture, took the picture. Remember now, he's playing at Christ the King with Eric. Other people. They took the picture. I want you to take a look at that picture. You will see the shirt that Lamar has. There's a logo on there that says Adidas. In those days, and even now, you don't wear another brand shirt.
That's a fact.
Alright? You with Riverside now is with Nike.
That's a fact.
There is no way Lamar could wear a Nike shirt. But no different that because we were Adidas, he had an Adidas shirt. So it was just crazy that we lost and he goes to take a picture and they say that. Here's another thing. I wanted to clear up. So that year was 1996.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a picture right there with Lamont with us in Vegas in 1996. But let me tell you, another story on that. We go out in Clooney Riverside. Remember they finished that year. They finished that year 56-1. And that's when people say Lamont was with them. He wasn't with them. He was with us, right? Well, we're out there in California in the Izzy Washington Slam and Jam tournament. All right? And we're both actually rooting for each other. Hopefully to get there to the championship. And Riverside's loaded. We're loaded. You see the team there. We had 12 Division I players on that team. And that's without Nolan Johnson, who ends up going to Oklahoma. Nolan had to go to summer school. It was like, no, you got to go to summer school. He was a boys and girls. So otherwise it would have been 13. Anyway, we get there. We beat in the semi Shea Cotton's team. Now Shea Cotton was that guy back then. So you think of the Lenny Cookes who didn't make it, or the Felipe Lopez who didn't become what people thought he would be.
Right.
Shea Cotton was that guy, and they had Shea Cotton, Eric Chenoweth, 7-footer, who ended up going to Kansas, and they had this kid named Kenny Bruner. All world. They hadn't lost in 2 years. There was a Southern Cal All Stars. We beat them in the semi. Well, Riverside loses to Baron Davis team. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So now we're supposed to play them, Baron and up in the championship. But the big time tournament in Vegas had already started. We didn't know we were going to get a championship. I called Sonny, Sonny, we're in the championship. That's great. Now get your ass here to Vegas. But Sonny, we're in the championship. That's great. I said, get your ass to Vegas because Vegas had started and we need to be there.
Wow.
So now I had to go tell the guys, we can't play in the chip. What do you mean we can't play in the chip? Sonny said we gotta get to Vegas. I messed with Sonny, yeah. So Lamont, okay. Sonny said we gotta go, we gotta go. So now we don't play in the championship. Now here's what happened. Izzy Washington can't lose his gate for the championship. So he goes to Barron and them, team said, hey, the Panthers gotta leave. So I'm gonna have y'all play Riverside again in the chip. Barron and like, we're not playing them again, we already beat them. We're not doing it. They don't play. So now Izzy's gotta go get another team to play in the chip against Riverside, and Riverside win the game, and now they claim they won the Izzy Washington Slam and Jam. This is the true story, y'all. All right? That's the true story. They lost.
Wow.
But nobody refutes it. And we're like, this dude didn't make it to the chip, man. But let me say this. They were an all-time unbelievable team. And later on that year, this is when you could still play all the way up until October, okay? We're in the tournament, the Wayne Simone tournament in Connecticut. And we played them, and we ended up facing them in the chip. Khalid Al-Amin missed a jump shot at the buzzer, and Riverside beat us in the chip. That year, that same year.
Wow.
Same year. Now, I'm gonna tell you another story that nobody knows. E. Barkley. It's been many years now, I can tell this story.
Mm-hmm.
Ever Barkley at some point gets upset with Riverside. He calls me. And Lamont Odom warned me, he said, E. Barkley's gonna call you. I said, for what? He said, he's upset with Riverside, he wants to play with us. He wants to go. I'm like, can't do it. So E. Barkley called. Gary Charles. Yeah? This is Barkley. Oh, what's up, Charles? Stop playing with me, man. This is E. Barkley. What do you want, man? Yo, I want to roll with y'all. I said, can't do that. He said, come on, man, let me roll with y'all. He can't do it. All right, I'm coming with Lamont.
Oh, after you told me you can't
He told
come?
me he can't come. Let me tell you what that suspect does. So Lamont calls me at some point the day we're leaving. We gotta leave. All right. He said, all right, you're gonna pick me up, right? And then we had to go pick up Khalid Amin at the airport, LaGuardia. I said, all right, we'll do that no way. Get there, E. Barkley's with him. They get in the van. Now I get to the airport. Khalid's there. Khalid's all world, by the way. Khalid's that dude. Fiercest competitor I've ever coached. Khalid's there. What's going on? Don't worry about it. The van's full with everybody. He's like, what? Yo, it's like this? We get up there. Get out the van. Yo, E, come with me. I said, somebody, where's Riverside? in that court, in that gym. I walk over there and I see, Ernie! I bought you Eric Barkley. And I walked away. And he Barkley looked in the like, oh, that's cold. Alright? I said, I'm not doing that, man. I didn't operate that way. People, it's funny because when you first started, oh, what a great coach, he's a good guy and everything else. As soon as you start doing, oh, that mother effer, that's what people do when you start doing this.
Oh, and take your players too, right?
Right.
If probably vice versa, they'll be like, come on, open arms, yes.
So meanwhile, E. Barkley is the reason why we lose the championship. But in a great game, Lamont fouls out with 4 minutes to go in the game, and but Khalid has a chance to win the game in a shot from the foul line that he normally makes, and he misses it, and we lose to him. But here's another story, and I'm sharing this because of you, Eric Barkley, because Eric Barkley said one time, oh, I never lost a couple times to the Panthers. Oh no, you did. Because the year before that, because of Speedy now, we go to Portchester, and if you look back at Catholic Youth, everybody knows it, it's at the end of March.
Mm-hmm.
We win it and we beat Riverside in the championship. Okay. Now we're in ISA. We're in a semifinal game. Lamont shows up late. We're playing against Shaheen Holloway's team. The place is crazy. All kind of characters are there. People got money in the game. Lamont comes running in at the end of the first quarter. The place is going crazy. I don't play him first half. So now we're talking, and my coach said, well, we'll be all right now. We got L. We got the L train. So I'm not going to play him. So my coach is like, what? What the hell's wrong with you, Charles? You out of your damn mind? I'm like, I'm not playing. What you mean? Dude, we got to teach these kids a lesson, man. It's bigger than basketball. It's getting out of control. Not playing them. People going crazy on me. Second half gets started. Now, mind you, we had a lead, 3-point lead, 5-point lead. And now, some of the dudes on the sideline are coming to me. Coach, please play him. Coach, I got money in this game, Coach. You know what I say. So I'm not playing them, y'all. All right? We win the game. People are going crazy because we win the game. And Shaheen will tell you the story. And, I've been asked, how could you have done that? I said, you know what? You got to pick when you teach a player a lesson. All right? And I knew as long as I had Speedy class, I was going to win this damn game. So I picked the right time to go ahead and give him that lesson.
Wow.
All right? I had Speedy with me. We were loaded. All right? 'Cause we had other guys, what have you. But Speedy, I knew, was not going to let us lose that game. And Shaheen Holloway, to this day, said, to this day, I remember that game because that's the only time I felt I got outplayed. And Speedy outplayed him. And he'll tell you that story. So now here's the thing. Now we have another game, championship game. I don't know if you remember Soboa. There used to be a tournament called the Soboa tournament.
Yes.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
at Riverside.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Who we playing that night? So the game's that night. So we go out there, we get pizza, and everything. As a matter of fact, the gentleman who, the brother of the gentleman that Lamar's aunt used to see, Janine, he was there.
Mm-hmm.
And he took Lamar and said, you talk to Gary? No, he didn't talk to him. No, I didn't say anything to him. Go have pizza and see him. Now the rest of the team stayed with us. Lamar was gone. Now we're playing the championship, and Nate said, is Lamar coming? I said, I don't know. Game time came, Lamar was there. We beat Riverside by 15 in that championship. Now that's 2, okay? That's 2 right there. Well, the next day, we're playing them in the championship. Eric Barkley, Elton Brown, we're playing them again. Lamar was there an hour early. All right? We win the championship. Lamar and Speedy, and I think there's a picture over there, okay, are co-MVPs. And to this day, Lamar and I talked about that. I never forgot that lesson, Coach. Never forgot that. And sometimes what you have to do. But I was prepared to, lose if this was going to help this young man down the line. That was important to me.
Wow. These are amazing stories, man. Like, let's talk about some other players that you had that people probably won't know about, right? Now, you mentioned Khalid Al-Amin, like no one probably knew that. Probably the people were there. Speedy was definitely one of the standouts. Who are some of the other players that you had playing with you? Curtis Sumter, who I watched his dad in the 80s play.
I knew you were gonna say
They
that.
were backcourt partners with Pete Edwards, right?
That's right.
They
That's
ran
right.
some tournaments a couple of years.
That's right. Matter of fact, they beat Cheney's men's team here at New York Tech.
Wow.
All right, I was there. I was like, who the hell are these guys?
Right,
With
right.
Kelvin Hicks
Yes.
on that team, yes. So I remember Pete now.
Man.
Yeah. Okay, facts. So Curtis will go down as one of the ultimate Panthers of all time. I mean, he was that kid that would just do everything, for you. All right, so he's one. LeVar Postel, who got drafted in the first round and played in the NBA, yes, and actually was a sixth man at St. John. Mike Jarvis made him a sixth man. Why, I don't know, but they want to get involved because that's the year with Ron Artest, Reggie Jesse, Larry Barkley, and I knew he probably felt the pressure that he needed to start a Riverside kid. And LeVar would call me upset, what have you, and I said to him, it's not how you start, man, it's how you finish. And sure enough, at the end, he became a pro. LeVar, so people don't even know LeVar Postel. LeVar Postel and Danny Green will go down as the best all-around players I've ever coached. Those two, okay? Because Danny could do a little bit of everything, so does LeVar on both sides. So people don't know about LeVar. Mike James. Now, this is one of the most famous stories, because I gotta share the story and you're gonna go, what? So, Mike James, we had put in JUCO, okay, out of Amityville High, and he's home. Now, this is a tournament in Ohio called the Bobby Corson's Tournament in Ohio. So we're out there playing. Coach comes to me and the coach says, God, I need a point guard. I said, you need a point guard? Yeah. I said, I got one. Really? He said, where is he? I said, no, he's back in Long Island. He said, well, tomorrow's the last day. Tomorrow's the last day for the live period for coaches to see play.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, can you get to Long Island tomorrow? He said, yeah. I said, well, come and see him. I'll have him for you. He said, what time? I said, I want you to come to Roosevelt Park at 8 a.m. All right, we're going to be there. So we left and we had a van. So now we left to go back home. Now, these are the days where I still thought I was on scholarship. All right?
Right.
So I'm still playing ball at Roosevelt Park every Sunday. Me and the fellas, we get together, we go play ball. Okay? And I called Mike early that morning. Yo, Mike, hello? Mike, meet me at Roosevelt Park. For what, coach? Have your ass at Roosevelt Park by 8 a.m. Okay, you hear me? Okay, coach. I get there. Who's there before I get there? The coach and Tom Kachowski. I guess he got off the plane. Tom said, I'll go with you. Tom is sitting there, top of, on the benches outside the park. You know Tom.
Mm-hmm.
Him and the coach. Go in the park. Me and my boy, we choose him. Okay, for the team. So now we choose the team. It's a true story, y'all. Okay? Bam. My team gets the ball. In those days, people, we didn't do crossovers. It was an in and out. Alright? Mike gets the ball. Mike does an in and out. Bang! Takes a layup. The coach turned around and said, I'll take him.
Wow.
I'll take him.
One move.
One move. The coach continued to watch him play, but he said, I'll take him. He was desperately needed a point guard. He said, I'm going to take him. I said, okay. Mike ends up playing 12 years in the NBA. 12 years in the NBA. Sheer luck. Opportunity.
Opportunity. Now
Right.
you gotta be ready, right?
Gotta be ready. Joel Wright was another young man that went to the NBA that played for us.
Mm-hmm.
He was a kid from California. And my boy, Reggie Morris, said, I need your help. So Reggie was one of my mentees. I
Right.
used to bring him every year to ABCD camp work, and he had some guys, and he needed to be seen. And then he needed summer school. And we brought Darrell here to go to summer school, and then we put him at South Kent Prep School. So he played with us, the rest of the time. Ends up being a pro. In fact, right out of high school. He was supposed to go to DePaul, with Dave Lato. I felt bad for my boy Dave. Right out of high school, doing all right. There's another one. Okay, we don't even know about. All right. Reggie, years later, was gonna send me another kid. He said, I got a kid. I really don't have a scholarship. He said Division II. I said, Reggie. So I'm like, God damn. I paid $500 for the goddamn plane ticket because I'm gonna have the kid play at ISC. Because that's what we did. Reggie would send him, I am played at ISC.
Mm-hmm.
Then Reggie called me, don't need it. The kid just got a scholarship, not gonna believe it. Scholarship where? He's gonna go to UCLA. I said, wait, that Division II player's gonna? Yeah. Turns out to be Russell Westbrook.
Wow.
True story. So Russell was coming. Alright? He was coming. I have all kinds of stories like that about, certain guys. But when I tell people why we have more than most, it's because they listen. Mo Harkless was with us from, I call Kansas. You need to take this kid. Gary's lazy. I know, but he need to foot up his ass. Kid could be a pro. Jay Wright, Villanova. Jay, gotta take this kid. He's lazy. Jay, he need to foot up his ass. Tell him he could be a pro. What does the kid do? Goes to St. John for a year, becomes a pro. Alright? And I remember there was a coach. He was at Seton Hall, my boy Billy Garrett. He said to another coach, he said, take a look at Garrett's team. One of these kids gonna end up being a pro, watch. Because somehow I kept at it and
Hold on. Did you say Willie Gary?
No, Billy Garrett.
Okay, I was about to say,
No.
you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
The lawyer? Oh, my
Yeah. No.
Wow.
And one day somebody asked Jim Calhoun, why are you always recruiting Panthers kids? I'm gonna tell you about another kid who I knew. Was gonna be one. He said, because Gary don't baby them, so when they get here, they're ready to play. Alright, that's why I recruit them. So, another one of my favorite statements all the time. Charlie Villanueva. Charlie Villanueva walked into the gym in 9th grade. Nate Blue bought him. Shout out to Nate Blue.
Nate Blue, no doubt. Real scout.
Shout out to that suspect Nate Blue, my guy. Nate Blue brings him in 9th grade. And I looked at the kid and I said, damn, by the time you get done with it, you're going to play 5 positions. And Charlie's looking like, what are you talking about? I said, you'll see. 9th grade. I was like, this kid's going to be a pro. Charlie Villanueva, one of all-time great, the Panther. And you're the best scorer we ever had. Now, he couldn't guard a couch. All right, Charlie. But Lord, when that ball went up, it was going the other way. He was the first one down the court. Okay, Charlie was a bad boy.
Wow.
Charlie, I got to tell you, that year with Charlie, Jason Frazier. Now, Jason Frazier is another hard one. That year in 2001, we won 5 or 6 championships that year. We didn't lose. That was with Charlie, Jason Frazier, Curtis Sumter. We had a kid named Taquan Dean, who ended up going to Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Now, let me tell you about that year, guys. That year we started with Sebastian Telford. Sebastian Telford started with us in 8th grade. All right, so another one. Because his people wanted him to get some publicity, so they put him down with us. And
is it true that he was the only 8th grader, or first 8th grader to be at ABCD camp?
So, and I got to give it to Sterling Nunnally, one of my coaches. That's a suspect story. I said, Sterling, we're not taking him there because it's going to be too much. I'm telling you. No, we got to take him. And Sterling sneaks him into the camp. All right, so yes. Sterling stuck a bomb my back into the camp. And I knew he could play, but I just knew it was going to be too much too fast. Because my starting point guard that year, I didn't take him to the camp. So I didn't want to do that, and bring him in there. But Sterling brought him in. And Bassey turns it out in camp that year. And the point guard I didn't bring, I felt so bad that kid ended up going to St. John, Tristan Smith. And so Tristan, I didn't do Bassey, that was Sterling who did that. So the following year, in the 2001, Bassey is going to be that dude. And by the way, the year before that, because you can't do that now, off that bench in that year was Sebastian, we had Bassey, Curtis Sumter, Jason, because Lenny was probably starting, because Lenny was that good. And then we had a 6'8" kid named Major Wingate from South Carolina who was playing with us, ended up going to Tennessee. And they started calling us up the Doodle Squad. That was our second team.
The Doodle Squad?
Yeah, Bassey made that up. He said, man, you treat us like we Doodle. I said, yo, Bassey, listen, I was a guy who played the senior. I'm like, you're not going to college next year. You got time. You're going to be all right. It's not how you start. It's how you finish. All right, so I want to make sure those other guys, got the opportunity, older guys, okay? And then, what was funny though, Charlie went away, but that's right. And Charlie was coming off the bench. They all coming off the bench.
Woo.
Okay, young. So when we brought him in, where most teams thought, oh, okay, now we could maybe get a chance. So let's say when I took out the stars, we're going to be up 15. Well, Bassett and them just took the lead up to 30. Because people didn't anticipate this. I mean, they were, obviously. So now here comes 2001, and we're loaded. And I remember Bassett's brother coming to me and said, well, Tiny's doing the team. Well, I knew that. See, what Tiny and them didn't know was that I told Sonny, I can't do all of New York. You got to get another team. New York is too big. People didn't understand how big New York was.
Yes,
I can't do everybody. We need somebody else. And I said, and somehow Tiny didn't come out. I said, it's okay, I'm cool. He's going to get his, I'm going to get mine. Now for a while, we became all the enemies because Tiny didn't know. But I wasn't going to just let people think like, whoa, slow your roll, baby. Like, you don't even know I played a part in you having this team. But anyway, because I knew he could do it. Because I watched Tiny. And Tiny and I have been talking. I'll never forget, Tiny called me in California. How's Bassett doing? I said, Tiny, he's going to get started point guard. He was like, what? I said, yeah, Tiny, he's good enough to be a starting point guard. True story. So now the following year, his brother comes over, Bassett's brother. I said, look, man, I have to leave. Tiny starting the team, gotta do what I got. I said, I get it. I said, here's the deal. With your brother, we can win by 20. Without him, we're gonna win by 10. We're still gonna win. And that year he goes, so now Gary Irvin becomes our point guard. Okay? Gary's a bad boy. But then at some point, Gary wanted to play, we were about to play his game in Brooklyn, and he wanted to go play with Bassett. I said, if you leave, don't come back. He leaves to go play that game. And then he tried to come back. I said, no, you're done. And we end up getting Showtime downhill.
Downhill, yeah.
Okay? And we win everything. We end up winning everything. And we have been winning, the whole year. So we end up, that year, as a matter of fact, one of them in Vegas, we beat Carmelo Anthony in the semi. Okay, end up winning that championship. And then we go to LA, and I remember we were tied. And Jay Wright, I'll never forget, he said, how the hell you not going to be able to play? You guys just went through it in Vegas. And now the next leg was the pump and run summer tournament. It was the pump fellas. And now I got to figure out how to motivate the guys. Matter of fact, Lamont came. Lamont came to watch. And I was telling Jason Frazier, who, unbelievable player, and if not for those 6 knee injuries, we would be in the pro too. Okay? And I said, yo man, Chris Bosh told me he's going to kick your ass. So he said, what? I said, you heard me, man. Chris Bosh said he's going to kick your ass. And we had beaten Chris Bosh at Hofstra in one of the legs. It was called the Triple Crown, Adidas. It was Hofstra, then Vegas, and then the Pumps. So that helped them get motivated. And we ended up beating Chris Bosh in the third leg of the championship for Adidas. Triple Crown, never been done. Okay.
How many championships have you won? We just talking about like national championships.
Man, look, listen. If you look here, I don't know if I've ever kept count. I haven't, but you know what? We've done pretty well. At ISA, we won 22 championships at ISA. I'm not sure if another team has won 5. Okay, and you can ask that to Pete Edwards, but we won 22 championships. I remember one year. Matter of fact, it was that same year, Nate Blue, in his wisdom, said, I'm going to put Charlie with a different team. He wanted him to play with Andre Barrett, Talib Brown, and Omar Cooke. Right? And I say, with Charlie, bad boys. Well, we beat him in the quarters. And Charlie said, I'm never doing that again. And Charlie never played with anybody else at ISA but us and throughout the years. But he was playing with us all throughout the year. But Nate just felt, damn it, let me just get Charlie to play with this point guard. I mean, this is great. We still beat him. And I think even Jason, his last year, Jason Frazier, that is, his high school coach put a team in it, Amityville High School, in there. And I say, we still won it that year.
Wow.
Okay, so we won, 22. Sammy Mahia. Here's another one people don't know. Sammy Mahia. Sammy Mahia was a wing. And we ended up getting Sammy. He's one I would say that probably, we took him from another team. Okay, so my bad. But his brother wanted to play one and get that exposure. So Sammy comes over, but I move him over to the point. I said, son, I'm moving you to the point. He said, a point? What I'm a wing? I said, nah, you're 6'6", I'm gonna make you a point. Made him a point. Next thing you know, Sammy's at DePaul, and Sammy gets drafted. Sammy is the 55th pick in the draft. He gets drafted by Detroit. They told me they were gonna take him. They called me, said, "Guy, what do you think? You know, because they knew me. It's like, what would you do? We want to take one of your kid." I said, "Okay, if it's a tie guy, we take your guy. So you're better." They take my guy, and he does well, but he gets hurt. Sammy's another one. Okay, Kenny Satterfield. People don't know.
Kenny Sat.
He's another one. They're with the Panthers. Okay? Now, I'll tell you a true story, but I'm not going to say who the other guy was. I get a call from the Denver Nuggets. Kiki Vanderway. I can tell these stories now. Kiki was my guy. Kiki and I used to run a camp in LA together, right after the pumps. Okay? Loyola Marymount. We used to do a camp together. And I would bring in some of the top guys. And Kiki was the first guy I saw space the floor, start doing all kinds of things. That was Kiki. By the way, first time I seen D Wade dunking over some people, I said, ooh, because one of my guys wore D Wade in. But anyway, so Kiki calls me. Hey, Gary, we're down these two guys, trying to figure out which one to take. I said, give me the two guys, give me the two guys. And I said, take Kenny Satterfield. He said, why? I said, because that's family. If it's a tie, it goes to family. I learned that from Sonny. And Denver Nuggets kept Kenny Satterfield at that time. Kenny, it's a true story. Ask Kiki. Yeah, so there's another one that people aren't, aware.
He's coaching with Tiny now along with man.
There you go, exactly. Yeah, and but it's funny because he brought a team when they were like, I don't know, 8 years old, 9 years old to Vegas to our tournament, and they won it. They won it.
Wow.
Yeah. Another kid is, I was gonna tell you about. There's another kid. It's Lance Thomas. Lance Thomas went to Duke. I remember, Coach K kept calling me about it. I'm like, yeah, he might be one of a few kids, from the program that could go to you, Coach, and ends up winning the Final Four, and ends up playing with the Knicks and everything else. Lance Thomas was another one.
Wow. Let's jump to 2003, right? Or let's say about 2002 because the next year this kid gets drafted, LeBron James, right? Was he heralded coming to the camp?
So, this is a true story, y'all. Maverick Carter, who's LeBron's guy, and he's the guy right now. So Maverick was one of the camp counselors. And remember I told you in the beginning of all of this that I was in charge of all the camp counselors.
Mm-hmm.
So Maverick is talking to me, he's watching Lenny. Lenny Cooke is, as an underclassman, is the top player in the camp. What he received the top underclassman in the camp. And Maverick comes to me, it's my boy now. He said, yo, Gee, I said, yeah, what's up? I got my cousin better than Lenny. I'm like, your cousin? What the hell are you talking about, man? Where's your cousin from? I said, Akron. What? And I'm laughing, I'm laughing my ass off.
Right.
What the hell are you talking about? You got a goddamn cousin from Akron, Ohio, who's better than Lenny Cooke. Get out of here. Gee, I'm telling you. I said, all right, whatever. Now, he started to pick up some steam, LeBron. LeBron come to the camp. Okay? Matter of fact, I remember that it was that same year that what is that year? Because I remember some year at some point that Bassey kept trying to get LeBron to play up. LeBron just laughing, the whole bit. But anyway, so LeBron come to the camp. Lenny is balling the whole camp. He's balling. Now, at some point in camp, we do the top matchups. Whatever it is, we're going to do the top matchup. All right? And, we did with Carmelo, we did with everybody, as you know, Derrick Rose, OJ Mayo, all that. Now here comes the game. Lenny Cooke against LeBron James. And I'm watching Sonny come walking in from outside, coming in. And Sonny would come and sit, most of the time come and sit next to me. So I could tell him who was who. He said, which court? I said, right there. So Sonny's sitting to my left, I'm sitting right here. The game gets started. Lenny Cooke come down. This Lenny against LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
Lenny goes through his leg maybe about 6-7 times. Back, 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 back. He rises, takes a jump shot. It goes in. the place goes crazy. You would have thought all the New Yorkers in the goddamn gym.
Yes, they was. Yes.
You know how we go.
That's a fact.
Going crazy. All right. Now, typically, when that happens, you come down court. What typically happens when somebody do that to you? What typically happens?
Somebody come right back at you.
Somebody come right back at you.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron comes down and makes a move, but he passes the ball, and the guy makes the shot. And I go, oh, this is different. He made the right play. I turn around to Sonny and go, oh. Now we proceed to watch the game. The game's about to be over. Lenny is on the front line. And by the way, let me just say this. Up until that time, I had never seen anybody outplay Lenny Cooke.
Wow.
Lenny was that guy.
Wow.
When we played, when we walked on the court, as far as I was concerned, we were 10 points ahead of him.
Mm.
They feared Lenny. Lenny walked on that court like we was already up 10. That's how we were. Lenny Cooke was really that dude. Okay? I have stories upon stories about the things Lenny Cooke. I remember we played against Omari Stoudemire. Okay? And they had Travis Outlaw, 2 pros, and they went to Washington, and that was all American. With Lenny, we mercied them. We asked to play them in the playoff and mercied them. That's the type of aura Lenny Cooke had. So yes, Lenny Cooke was that guy. So now, go back to the game. It's at the end of the game, and LeBron's balling. Lenny Cooke goes to the foul line, makes the foul shot. Place is going crazy. New York is going goddamn crazy. I'm looking at the place, I'm like, yo, son, what the hell? Everybody in New York is here? Alright? So they up 2. Can't remember, it was 1 or 2. Boom, LeBron's got the ball. The place is hype. Place is going crazy. LeBron comes down, nails a goddamn 3 at the buzzer. The place empties out on the floor. The place is going crazy. That's the point. LeBron went this way, and then he started to go the other way. That moment right there. And when that shot went in, I looked at Sonny, he looked at me, and we had each other's eye. It was a Kobe moment. We said, that's the next one. We didn't have to say anything. We just knew it was like, yeah, that's the guy. That's when it took off.
One shot? And he won the game, though.
The whole game, though, he ends up with 22. My point, though, is, but when it was said and done, it was like the king had been slain.
Yes.
At that point.
Mm-hmm.
I am telling you, from my vintage point, knowing what I had seen, what I had known, when that shot went in, I looked at Sonny, he looked at me, and we both knew, oh yeah, that's the next one. We knew that, all right? We knew at that point, that's the guy. And now all of a sudden the whole world knew, all right? What's even crazier, guys, is that the following year, LeBron couldn't play, he got hurt. He couldn't play in camp, so Sonny said, go to the other camp, go to Nike camp too, because now we're going to start building your marketing. All right? The marketing started. LeBron's that guy.
Wow.
LeBron was that guy. And Lenny, you know, he made some mistakes. I feel, you know, really bad about it. And, you know, here's another story that people don't know that plays a part in all of this, okay? I had to make a decision because I knew we were really good. Anybody was not going to be able to play. So around the middle of May, somebody was going to be coming to us, but somebody had to go. So I went to Tyrone, because Tyrone was the one that, you know, brought him to the table, Lenny to the table. And Nate Cadigan and I and Sterling Nunley were there at Tyrone. I said, Tyrone, I got to make a decision. Somebody's got to go. He said, okay, so who's going? I said, I'm going to take Lenny Cooke off the team. And Nate was like, Charles, what the hell is wrong with you? Are you on drugs again? Lenny Cooke is the number 1 player in the country.
Right.
I said, yeah, but he don't listen. And like, so people were asking me at that time, so why did you feel you had to? I said, I wanted to make sure Curtis Sumter played. Curtis was the one that was going to get hurt. I said, well, who's the other kid you was waiting on? I said, well, a kid turned out to be Charlie with no waiver. All right, and somebody was going to get hurt. And because Lenny would not listen, and Curtis would listen, and Charlie would listen, I thought it was time. I mean, Lenny and I butted heads all the time. We were boys now. But he was just like, Lenny, I don't need you to score 35. You know, other people are here too, Lenny. And I'm like, go do you, Lenny. So we made a decision, and Debbie bought and had a team. And I remember Debbie tried to get Curtis too. And Curtis said, no, I'm staying, you know, with the Panthers. And sure enough, with all of that missing, without Bassie, with Gary Irvin leaving us, with Lenny not there, we ended up winning 5-6 championships that year. With all that. But I knew I needed to make a move on Lenny. Now, I made it once I knew we had him confirmed for ABCD camp. Right. That I had to make sure he was going to be a camp. Once I did that, I went to Tom like a man. I said, Ty, this was about that.
So that was before the LeBron game?
I was before the LeBron game.
Okay.
He's still my guy.
Right.
Because I still brought him to camp. But I'm like, yo, Lenny, yeah, let's do this. I had to. Charlie was coming. Because Charlie was in prep school. Charlie was at, God, my mind's going blank.
He was at Brewster?
He wasn't at Brewster. He was in Jersey, the school going up to the Poconos. Oh, man. They're actually pretty damn good.
Blair?
Blair.
He
was at Blair.
Blair, which now has Rippy.
You got it. Now it has Rip. Okay?
Yeah.
By the way, Rippy Senior played for me too. Okay? Right? So now, Charlie was in prep school and couldn't play until after school was over, which was right after Memorial Weekend. So I knew Charlie was coming. I had to make room for my boy Charlie because he had been playing for us already for a couple of years, and somebody had to go or somebody was going to get hurt. You know, from a playing time standpoint, I needed to be playing.
Right.
And I made that decision at that time. It was going to be Lenny that was going to be off the team.
Wow. Man, so much history. Let's talk about the big time tournament. Las Vegas big time, right? It started out as the 48, right?
Yeah, we started in 2010 as Fat 48.
Yeah, please, Fat 48, and then walk us to how the name got changed and when you took over.
So, in 2010, Dino Trigonis came to me, and Dino Trigonis the guy that runs the Penguins All-American Camp.
Yes.
And things like that. And Sonny had retired, and he said, Gary, we gotta have someone to play. Why don't we do an event together? I didn't care about nothing but making sure that we still went to Vegas every year. All right? I had been going to Vegas since 91 in the tournament, 1991. So I've seen a whole lot of change in Vegas, city being built. And he said that, and he said, I got a guy friend of mine named Grant Rice, who is the head coach at Bishop Gorman. He'll let us use the gym. I said, okay. At some point he asked me, what do you want to call it? I said, I don't know. He said, you know what? We're probably going to get 48 teams, okay, because we could fit 48. That's what we could fit 48 teams at Bishop Gorman. So he said, let's call it Fat 48. I said, oh man, I want to call it Fat 48. So for 2 weeks he kept looking, Gary, come on, we got to make it. I said, you know what? I think we're going to get more, but whatever, I don't care. Well, sure enough, we ended up getting 110 teams the first year. Okay, so, but it was 48 teams at Bishop Gorman, 48 teams in the Southern Gym. And that was the concept. 48 teams in every, different gyms. So Gorman was the main team. And because I started calling people, I started telling all the fellas, and they all came. And at that time, because we weren't sponsored, we could get every single shoe company team to come. And that was the beauty of it, that we had Adidas, Nike, Under Armour, whatever. We had all the teams coming. And I remember Jay Wright, saying to me, damn, I have to come all the way here to Vegas to see 2 teams from Philly play against each other. Because one was Under Armour and the other was, Nike. They couldn't play against each other. Right. He said, I got to come way over here. And the same people were saying the same thing about DC. DC Assault and Team Takeover out of their area were playing in our event. So, but that's how the name came, Fat 48. But at the hype, we probably had like 900 teams, playing out there. All right? And using like over 20 different gyms. But the same concept, 48 teams. But it was the invite division, the diamond division, the platinum division, the gold, and so on. So the coaches knew which gym to go to. That, oh, okay, I'm this level, I'm going to be in this gym. I'm this level, I'm going to go to that gym. And that was the beauty of what we had at the time, with the Fat 48. But then I had to change the name because at some point, Dino's and I were clashing too much, okay, and we needed to part ways. And because we, came up with the name, I actually had branded the name, okay, but Grant said, "Okay, please, let's just, so we could all go in peace." That's okay, fine. So I called Sonny. "Do you mind if I use Las Vegas Big Time and then we bring that back?" He said, "You're the only one I would ever let use it." So Sonny gave me permission to use Las Vegas Big Time. And that's why it's back to the Big Time tournament. So it felt so good to see Lebron in the gym, to watch his son play. Lebron, who played in it, and now here's his son playing in the Big Time that he was in. Same thing with Carmelo.
Wow. Now, with all the rules that the sneaker companies have, right? That they can play in the same gym, do they say, okay, will you having your tournament that Gary has a pass? We don't mind them.
That's basically what happened. What happened is that they gave me a pass because a lot of the guys that were, playing went to them and said, "Hey, that's the OG. He helped start a whole lot of us." And Nico was a cool guy. We were cool, and Lynn Merritt and I became, tight because Dino's had created some fiction. And during All-Star Weekend, I met up with Lenny and we talked about some of this. So they would give me a pass. Okay, if they weren't doing anything, they would give me a pass. Now, they play throughout the whole live period, so the team can't come. Although some teams, they will come when they're not playing. They come, they'll say, "Hey, so now we're not done, we can come," and Nike will give a pass. Matter of fact, some of the Nike officials will come and sit down. Okay, and the other thing is that Grant Rice, who's the AD at Bishop Gorman and the basketball coach, he's a Nike program. Okay, so we're not sponsored, so yeah, I think I was kind of like grandfathered in, so to speak. Okay, they would let this team play in our event.
Wow. Since I started basketball, people's always telling me like, "You gotta get down to this, what's the name?" And I'm like, "Man, I'm just strictly New York. So Gary runs it. So it's dope that you're still doing it, man. And I know 10 years ago you started the classic out here.
Yes.
Right, in Long
Yes.
Island. When you
Yes.
bring the New York teams,
Yes.
New York City team versus the Long Island team.
Yes.
What made you come up with that?
Again, it goes back to why I started in the beginning with that. Long Island kids weren't getting the opportunity to be seen or play against the city teams a lot of time. But here was the other thing. We started at Adelphi. I also wanted the city kids to see the opportunity of suburban, what a nice school look like and everything else. I want them to see the other side.
That's right.
Also. And I thought that was a perfect opportunity. And because obviously I knew a lot of the coaches, I'm like, "Hey man, you want to play?" Yeah. Like my boy Bud had been playing, every year from day one. Okay. And I remember I laughed. He lost the first year, and he was going crazy. And then he smiled at me and said, "I'll be back next year." I love that, about Bud. But that was, the impetus, for doing that. Okay. And obviously the kids in Long Island love it. And the kids from the city get a chance to see something different in Long Island.
Yeah, that's dope. I had a great time there, man. For my first time being there, appreciate you. You guys invite me out, so that was dope. But I want to read a quote for something real quick before, some few more questions I got to ask you. You said, "For 30 years, I've watched the inequity that goes on in the game." What we want to do is stop some of this. ABIS wants to be the voice for racial equity in sports. We want to stop the discrimination of black coaches, players, and black administrators and vendors. What have you seen from over all your years that you've been in this? Come up with what I just read.
Over the years, being involved with a lot of coaches, a lot of ADs, I saw the inequity of our black coaches not getting the opportunity, to be a coach. And when the George Floyd murder happened, it did something to me. and I felt I needed to say something. You know, because sometimes, you know, we got to stop talking the talk and walk the walk. And I couldn't be talking about it and not do something about it, okay? It was time to be about it. And so I made a video that went out to Twitter and it going viral.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I called Dave Lato, who's one of my closest friends, and Dave was coaching at DePaul at the time, DePaul University. And I said, Dave, it's time for us to get together. He said, okay, I'm with you. And also, it was the right time because it was COVID time, so everybody's home.
Mm-hmm.
So we were all hyped, you know. Then I called Lenny from Florida State. Coach, we need to do something. He said, I saw your video. I'm in. What do you want me to do? Then, said, Dave, we got to get Dawn Staley. He said, let me call her. Call her. We got on call. He said, Gary, I'm in. Then I called Coach Stringer. I said, Coach, it's time to get back. And we spent an hour talking about Cheney, you know, her and I. He said, okay, Gary, you need to call Vivian Felicia or Allen. And I did. Next thing I knew, Felicia had set up a meeting. And there was 30 women coaches on my Zoom call. When it was over, they all said, we in. And that was the impetus of starting ABIS. But you know what, I need to get the grassroots guys involved. I said, I can't forget my roots. So then I reached out to those guys, Tiny. Reached out to Tiny. You know, I reached out to Jimmy Salmon. I reached out to Keith Stevens, Team Takeover, who's you know, the biggest guy, you know, Nike. Reached out to everyone around the country. And next thing we were meeting, Dana Dingle. And now we were having a meeting with the coaches. And it got heated at the time, but it needed to happen to figure out what are we gonna do. And Conzo Martin, who at the time was coaching the University of Missouri, said in the meeting, he said, look, listen, we need to do something with financial coaching for these players. They need to understand most of them are not going to succeed, you know, playing ball, but we have to prepare them. And I forgot that. And that's how we started the financial coaching program for athletes, to prepare them. All right. And I remember we were talking mental wellness, about how we need to get going on mental wellness. And I remember Nikki Fargas. And Nikki Fargas, who don't know who she is, at that time was the head coach of LSU women's teams, where she is now the president for the WNBA Las Vegas Aces, who went to national championships, right? And Nikki said, don't forget the head coaches needed to. It showed me how powerful things were and how it wasn't just the players that needed the mental wellness, but they needed it too. So we wanted to start that. The gala that we do every year was something that I had in my mind for over 20 years that we need to do. I've always felt that, why can't we celebrate ourselves? Why do we have to wait for somebody else to tell us when we can celebrate us?
That's a fact.
Right? And then how so much of our history gets written off. And I want people to understand, well, let me show you what some of our top sports figures have done for our community, for this world, for this country. And that's why the gala came up. And that's the reason why we created the Vivian Stringer Pioneer Award. First year went to Dawn Staley. The John Carlos, Tommy Smith. And you know, for people are like, well, who's that? But when I raised my hand,
that's right.
Oh, that's the guy? Yeah. Their names were John Carlos, Tommy Smith. So we had the John Carlos, Tommy Smith Social Activist Award. One year went to Dr. Richard Lapchick, a white man, okay? But who's done all kinds of things for the black community. Second year, or last year, I think it was last year, went to Brent Crump, social activist, you know, that award. We created Sonny Vaccaro, Champion of Change, because there's another man who's done a whole lot for us, right? So that was important for us to create that particular award. We created Eddie Robinson Coaches Award, and we had to get permission now, and his people, like his family said, let's do it. First year I went to Tony Dungy, okay, on and on. Then we created the Bill Voden Sports Media Award. And the first year we gave that to Jameel Hill. All right. Last year we gave it to, was that last year? We gave it to Ryan Clark from ESPN. This year we gave it to LaChana Robinson, who's also one from ESPN, you know, this year. We're honoring Ray Lewis, you know, this year. First year Lifetime Achievement Award, we gave it to Dr. J. We've honored Tracy McGrady, you know, people like that. And We had the Jackie Jordan Kersey Excellence Award. First year went to Alison Felix. Okay? So we're doing things like that so people can hear their stories and understand what they have done, all right, for this country. We had the Shaquille O'Neal Economic and Sustainability Award. Nikki Parkins went to Shaquille and said, Shaquille, we want to give you an award. Okay? And Shaquille said, what award? The Economic Sustainability Award for what you're doing. He said, no, don't give it to me. Name it after me. Can't say no to Shaq. So we named the award after Shaq. First year we gave it to Albert King. Albert King, who's Albert King? You know who Albert King is. I know who Albert King is. See, people forgot Albert. Well, guess what Albert's been doing? He has a Wendy's in Newark. He has another Wendy's at in Philadelphia somewhere.
He has one in Inglewood as well.
Has one in, so people don't know this is the things he's doing.
Yeah, I think it's a Wendy or Burger King in Inglewood.
Wendy's.
Yeah, Wendy's. I used to go there. We used to go there in college.
There you go.
Yes.
Okay? And so it's to show you, here's what our people are doing from the sports community.
And not only that, Albert King was the first National Player of the Year in 1977. And you know who he beat out?
Magic
Johnson.
Exactly.
That's right.
All right? People don't know that.
That's right.
All right? So we are bringing all this out to the forefront. So these are the things, and here's one of the biggest things that we do. A lot of search firms and ADs tell us, well, God, we don't know who the black people are we're supposed to hire. Really? I tell people this all the time. When they come out with these things, you gotta be ready for a comeback. Because they think they're gonna say something we're supposed to stop. I'm not that guy. I have a comeback for you. I said, really? Well, here's the answer to the test. So we have something called the watch list. In that their peers in every single sport now, not just basketball, but football, baseball, track and field, volleyball, they name who the top assistant coaches are in the country and the top major coaches are in the country. And since we started that, over 40% of jobs have gone to minorities, across the board.
Do you think the fact that President Donald Trump has rolled back the DEI all across the country for diversity, equity, inclusion, for, say, minorities across the country, do you think that's going to affect what you guys are doing?
Of course it will, to a certain degree. But here's what people need to understand. The number one people that DEI helps is white women.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
Blacks are really fourth or fifth.
Tell it.
Okay?
Tell it.
In the things that the DEI does. The one thing, though, that we're good at, though, we know how to keep it pushing. We know how to keep it moving. So we're not going anywhere. All right? We're just going to ride him out, too. Okay? Like we do. So will it affect? Yeah. But you know what? We learn how to continue our life and grow no matter what the situation is. We're small. We're really small. So we're going to continue. To keep moving until somebody pull a bullet in our head. That's where we at.
Mom style, baby. It's a Godfather right there, y'all. Well, listen, let's have some fun. I want to go and do our thing that we always do at the end of the show. And this is called the top five. All right, with that?
I'm with that.
We got some fun, man.
Let's go.
All right, so top 5 players in the ABCD camp, from your opinion. Top 5. Can't do 6. Can't bring nobody off the bench. Top 5.
Well, LeBron James, Tracy McGrady, Greg Oden. And people don't know who Greg is, but I'm telling you, Greg Oden was really going to be that next Patrick Ewing type player, and he actually led Ohio State as a freshman to the national championship game. Greg was all of that. Okay, so that was 3. Okay, believe it or not, regardless of what happened, we talk about ABCD camp, Lenny belongs in that. Okay, Lenny Cooke. Lenny was all of that in a bag of chips, in camp. He just, think about who we're talking about, all right? With LeBron. LeBron was that good. Kobe. Okay. There's a lot of guys now I know tomorrow I'll be like, oh my God, I forgot so-and-so. But how many is that in a name? All right. So
Yeah.
So if I said Kobe, I said Lenny, and I said LeBron, I said Tracy, okay, and there's a lot more, but Melo was no joke, you know. But I'll always say Steph. Steph,
Marbury.
yeah, I'm sorry. Steph Marbury was oof. And now here's the thing. Well, there might be another question, but yeah, those guys. Steph, you know, most people think the best dunk ever, ABCD camp, was Tracy McGrady's dunk. It wasn't. It was a dunk that Stephon Marbury did. And I'm the guy who has the vote. So I'm telling you, it was Stephon Marbury. Stephon Marbury that year did a dunk. He passed a kid named, oh my God, Wayne. Wayne ended up playing for Kentucky. Wayne, my bad, I'm forgetting last name right now, but Wayne was the second best point guard in the country that year. Steph made a move and went by him. And there was a kid waiting for him. This kid was a Mandingo warrior, about 6'9", Mandingo built. Unbelievable athletic camp in block shot. Steph started out somewhere in Atlanta, but when he got to Maryland, made another turn and got to Jersey and said, boom, on the kid. The dunk was so hard that when he did it, people jumped up in the air. Everybody jumped up in the air.
Wow.
But let me tell you what made it even more special. After he finished that dunk, he turned around and walked out the gym. Steph did. Just walked out. The place is going crazy. He came back finally.
Right.
He was like, fuck the mic. He did the dunk and walked the hell out. Okay?
Wow.
Walked out. And this was the time when they had the video cameras, okay? Then people started to line up because there was a guy that had a video. So people were lining up to look and go, oh! And then the next guy, oh! I mean, that's just the way it was, okay?
Wow.
Best dunk in the camp. People remember Tracy, number 2. And by the way, and Kobe had number 3. All right? And Kobe and I used to get arguments about that. So Kobe, you were 3. Not 2, not 1. You were 3.
Wow.
But Steph had the best dunk. So I gotta give Steph some love. Hey, you gotta understand something. Paul Pierce, by the way, was unreal.
Yeah, you got Paul Pierce, you got OJ Mayo, all these dudes.
You got Dwight Howard. You just go on and on and on. But those, yeah, they're special. So I want to make sure I give Lenny Cooke love because Lenny really was that dude. But dude, you just ran up against one of all-time ever in LeBron. Okay? But don't take away.
And just to add on that, Lenny said that as well, right? And the one thing I respect so much about Lenny because he's come to grips with everything, right? He didn't slight LeBron. He said LeBron earned everything.
Yep.
He said the kid was great. So, and for him to be in your top 5, I know this is gonna make everything. It's gonna make him really feel good about that. That's dope. And you're not just saying it. He definitely earned it.
Yeah.
Okay. Top 5.
And Lamont, don't call me, okay, Lamont? You right there too. You're a little lazy behind. All right.
So let me just say this. I'm gonna say this right now.
Yeah.
Lamar Odom played a big part in me starting basketball heads.
How about
I'm gonna
that?
tell you why. It's a true story. My guy's been telling me to start a basketball show, podcast. Like, yo, Pooh, you gotta do it. And after watching Lamar Odom's on Drink Champs, and I used to say this a lot when I first started the podcast. After watching Lamar Odom on Drink Champs, I said, we need a podcast for New York City basketball, a safe space to where nobody's not be made fun of or made to look bad. Like, we need to honor our guys. And I felt like Drink Champs was definitely one of my top podcasts. They didn't talk about basketball with Lamar. It was all about the scandals and all the stuff people read on Google and, it was all those other things.
Yeah.
You know?
I gotta tell you, I'm joking.
Yeah, 1 second.
Yeah.
And that is the exact, I forgot to even, when you started bringing it up,
How about that?
I meant to mention this to you.
Wow.
Lamont Odom, and this is, I want to sit down with him, and I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
He is the reason why, like, it really pushed me to do basketball heads.
About that.
If you look at the time frame where that show came on, right from there, I just started doing research, trying to figure out.
Yeah.
They was talking about all the drugs and him getting caught in Vegas and all that scandal. They didn't talk about basketball. No, they didn't talk about basketball one time.
Wow.
You know, they had this guy Rod Oates was on a show there with him. I had Rod on the show.
Okay.
Right? And we talked about that, but I always give Lamont Odom his props because he was the motivation. He was like the battery that got me going.
That?
Because
How about that?
Drink Champs does it for the hip hop guys.
Yep.
Who's doing it for our basketball guys?
There you go. Good for you, man. Seriously, good for you. And
Nah,
you know
that is
we
the
love our
that is the
basketball,
truth.
so for you to do that, there's a lot of guys. You know.
We
So,
good? We good?
you know, I would say this to you. Lamar Odom is the reason I'm here. Okay, I'm being real. He was so impactful. And what people don't know is that the nicest young man you ever want to meet. I used to tell, learn to say the word no. I told him that at 16. Could say yes to everybody. Unbelievable. But another person that I want to put on record of saying thank you to was his aunt, Janine Mercer. Because Janine believed in me. And Janine was the one that said, Lamar, you're going with him. Because if Janine would have said something else, Lamar would have went somewhere else. Lamar was a kid. Okay? And I tell that to people sometimes. You keep going to these kids instead of going to these parents. All right? They're adult. And Janine believed in me. So for the rest of my life, I'll be indebted to her for believing in me and allowing me the opportunity to coach her nephew. Okay? And that's why I'm where I'm at, because that opened up all the doors when Lamar, came in. I tell people this all the time. Zendon and Hamilton took us to the top. But Lamar Odom took us over the top. All right? And then Speedy Claxton has smashed all doors. And that's the truth. So I'm never going to forget that. I know why I'm here. It's because I've had those opportunities for players like that.
Hey, to Long Island guys, one city guy. Can't complain about that, brother. Part of the mission, right?
That's facts. That's right.
Alright. Top 5 grassroots programs.
Top 5 grassroots
Yes.
programs? Takes a minute. I'm going to say that Riverside Church to me was number 1.
Over the Gauchos?
Across the country, Riverside. And the reason I'm saying that is because to me, they started, a lot of this. And as I watched them grow, they were the ones that I wanted to become. And I'm saying to you that as the years went on, when I was there, they were the ones. They were just a little bit behind the Gauchos, and the Gauchos were number 2.
Yeah, because the Gauchos had a strong history before it.
You got
right?
it.
And
you understand?
Yes, I
There
see
you
what
go.
you're saying.
Okay.
Yes, I got you. From your perspective, yeah.
Yep. Now, at that time, there's a whole lot of team, man. Because people don't give us enough credit. Because I'm going to put us as one of the top 5. Hell, we're number 1, okay? You need to just give us the credit just for starting all of this. Okay? All right? Give us some respect. I don't think people understand just how many championships we won over the years. And think about what you said about the pros. It's just been unbelievable. And we had college coaches. We did a lot. BABC in Boston was an unbelievable program. Leo Papia. Leo actually had become a scout for for Rick Pitino when Rick was up in Boston. Leo had it going on, BABC. It's tough. And Southern Cal All-Stars were really, really good at that time out of California, okay? I don't know how many I said.
Yeah, I know you mentioned one earlier who's like this. You said they like the top AAU team at Nike.
Team Takeover.
Yes.
Yeah, Team Takeover, they came in probably the past 10 years.
Okay, so they're pretty young.
They're pretty young to me,
Okay.
but I would tell you right now, Team Takeover is like, if it was now, I'll tell you, Team Takeover, Compton Magic, or like the creme of the creme, so to speak.
Got you.
You know,
Got
of
you.
programs right now.
Got you.
But I'm talking about as far as, you know, coming up.
Yes.
It was definitely Riverside. It was the Gauchos. It was us. Maybe the Pumps, because the Pumps had James Harden and people like that. So the Pumps, the Pump and Run.
Where they were
You know,
from?
team. They were California.
California, and then the
yeah.
Boston team, right?
Yeah,
So-
yeah. The ABC was definitely that team. And I know my boy Thad would kill me, but Thad only played one damn event a year. So Thad, I'm not giving it to you. Okay. All right. So it was, you know, a program like that. You know, the DC Assault was also, you know, really big. But those were the program because Texas honestly didn't really start to get going to me until later. Okay, when the football players, you know, put their helmet down, started to play, got serious about, you know, basketball.
So let's be straight. The 5 is Long Island Lightning, Riverside.
No, not Long Island Lightning.
I mean, excuse
Long
me,
Island Panthers.
Panthers, excuse me.
Yep.
Excuse me.
Slash New York Panthers. Yep. Yep.
Bad host. Long Island Panthers,
Yep.
Riverside
Yep.
Church, Gauchos, the Boston,
Yeah. BABC.
BABC,
Pump and Run.
and Pump and Run.
Yep. Yeah.
Where did the Long Island Lightning start? Did they come
Yeah.
after you guys stopped?
Way after, you know, like Tiny them started years afterwards.
Wow.
You know,
Tiny started with Bashy.
yeah,
Right.
But Bassy had played with us the year before.
Oh.
But he did. And now, and mind you, the team he started, that's why when I said, when Sonny said, we got some more, I said, oh, Sonny, I can't do all New York. Like, Sonny didn't even understand that goddamn Syracuse is X miles away from me. I said, no, because there was the Albany City Rock, you know, up there.
Right.
There was Mickey Walk up there. Sonny, can't do all New York. We need another team around here. And that's how we came up with the idea with Tiny, because especially
Juice,
using that
Juice
Bassy,
also,
the Juice
yeah.
All-Star.
Mhm.
All right, but Bassy was with me in 8th grade. But then the following year, Tiny started with Bassy, Chris Tabb, and Mel Bradley. Hell of a team. Now that year, man, when I say team, now that was also the same year LeBron was playing. Okay? And we won the championship. All 3. There was a Texas team, you know, with Chris Bosh and them,
Yes.
you know, out there. They were loaded teams everywhere. And we beat them all. Alright? And people don't, you know, the 2001 Panthers won every single thing, and like I said, won the Triple Crown. So how are we not considered one of the top teams? It's because, you know, we weren't saying anything, so now I'm saying it. Alright? Yeah. We were that team.
Long Island Panthers. Put some respect in the name.
Yeah.
Forever.
Yeah. You know, and you know what? And Jimmy, I know you belong in there somewhere too. The players. Jimmy Sutton was unbelievable out there in Jersey. Unbelievable.
But we only can name 5.
We can only name 5, so hey, I got you, man. And Jimmy, I got this for you and I. All right, let's put that way.
All right. Top 5 players in New York history.
Kareem. I would tell you guys probably my favorite, you know, point guard of all time in New York. Yeah, when I started to see draft, is Kenny Anderson. Okay. And I love Kenny because he was that guy who didn't have to go all the way down court to give a pass. He got it, he gave it. Special.
Mm-hmm.
Very special. So I would say Kenny. Now here's what's crazy, okay? Do you consider Dr. J or New? You said New York?
I said New York.
Okay,
I
Dr.
said
J.
New York City.
Okay.
We going New
See,
York.
no, and I love that you said that because sometimes, you know, a lot of times people don't consider Long Island part of, you know, the New York.
No, when you're in New York City, I will ask guys top 5 in New York City, but you represent, you know,
Yeah.
part of the whole of New York.
I got you.
You know, we got an all-star right now, the guy with the best record, Donovan Mitchell, was upstate New York, right?
Upstate New York.
And I think a lot of times people slight us
They
in
slight
other
that.
areas because
They
they
do.
only count the 5 boroughs,
Absolutely
don't realize that New York is
New York.
the whole state.
That's
that-
what I was trying to tell Sonny, you didn't understand. Anyway, so, obviously Dr. J.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
You know, definitely
My
in there.
hero, yeah.
You know, I gotta tell you, I really look at Lamar like that too.
Mm.
Okay. Lamar was that special. You know, he was that guy. you know, Ron Artest was a man, grown man, and we beat him X amount of time because we had Lamont on the team. Okay, so I think Lamont was that guy. All right, and now there's a couple other guys that you can get in there because it depends how far back. You know,
Last one, baby. Last one.
You know, you wanna go to, and I'm thinking, you know, out loud. And I know I could say, you know, Connie Hawkins, but I'm gonna give it to Chris Mullin.
That's real right there.
Okay, and let me tell you all this: New York, we're so rich.
That's right.
You know, with players, all right, because you can say whatever you want. Phil Washington was a bad man. You know, from back in the days.
That's right.
It's just a lot, you know, of guys. You know, there's the Felipe Lopez who was, you know, all everything, and Steph. You know, Steph was a gangster, man. I gotta tell you, Steph was a gangster. But you know, those are the ones I would say.
Nah, look, I don't think anyone on Basketball Heads ever named the same 5 players.
Yeah.
That's how vast and how rich.
That's what I was gonna say, and you know what I mean? Because we all have an opinion. All right, it's what you think. You know, it doesn't mean you're wrong. And I've said that. I'm not arguing with you. I hear you. Okay, as far as what you say they are. All right, but you know, that's what I saw.
Nah, man, listen. I think we somehow, some way down the line, got to do a part 2 somewhere. Cause I know you're gonna hit me up and you know, like, yo, Pooh, I'm telling you, I missed this. We forgot to talk about this, and I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna watch this. Say it's gonna be some things that I forgot.
Well, I know you want to hit me with the 5. Well, who's my Mount Rushmore, so to speak, in the NBA.
Okay, that's the one that we forgot. That's the one we forgot, right? So if you try to talk about your Mount Rushmore, or the guys that you had hands on, right? Can we say that?
Well, I'm glad they have hands up. I'm just gonna say.
Oh, you're just gonna talk about the NBA.
NBA.
Can we go? Can we stretch it and go 10?
Yeah.
Cause I think if I say 5, this is not part of the top 5. This is something extra.
I got you. Well,
hold on 1 second.
Sure.
Did this shut down or the stage?
Nah, it's good.
Oh wow! I didn't think that was gonna make it. No, cause the battery didn't get the charge, and it's been going. It's been doing this thing. So yeah.
All right, we done.
All right, we want to get this in, right? Top 10 basketball players. Your Mount Rushmore, right? Cause Mount Rushmore only has 4 people on.
Well, here's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say a couple things.
Okay.
First of all, I don't argue with people when they say this and that because it's the person's opinion.
That's right.
On who they are. And I was never gonna give you 4 regardless because I don't believe in that. This is the NBA Rushmore.
Got you.
So in my mind, if you would ask me, I would have given you 5 at the least because to me the NBA starts with 5 guys. Okay. So it's my NBA Rushmore. And also I grade differently because I'm always amazed when people say, well who's that, you know, this guy? Well, tell me how you graded. Because if you tell me how you graded or how you're picking them, then maybe I can tell you. Because some people say, well, they won the most championship. Oh, no, because you said Michael Jordan, but then, you know, Bill also had a lot. So to me, what is it that defines how you're picking them? And for me, one of the things I do is that because as black people, we always have to be better than the next.
Right.
I define mine a little differently. I consider some of my greatest as people who also help us as people. Okay, so I will admit that's part of my criteria. All right, you're not just out there playing, but you also went out there to help in the community, and that's why I say to you, Muhammad Ali is the greatest.
Yes.
Because I saw him give up a couple of years of his life, you know, for all of us, and that's become the greatest. Okay, that's why I said. So mines are, and in no particular, but I will say this to you, that I think sometimes people forget what Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has done. because he didn't just win 6 NBA championships. He also won 3 college championships, and might have won a 4th. They were letting him play as a freshman. Okay, so he won 3 in college. He won 3 city championships in high school. And by the way, y'all, I'm giving y'all this too. They might have won and they won 2 national championships in high school. And they might have won a 3rd one, but Kareem and his coach wasn't getting along at that time because his coach called him a nigger. Okay?
I didn't know that.
Exactly. All right, that's what I'm saying, that sometimes people do your history before you say certain things and you do certain things, okay? So because of that, I would tell you I hold Kareem in a different light than some of the other people.
Gotcha.
Because all the things he's done, all right? And I also remember that he got with Jim Brown and Muhammad Ali and Bill Russell,
yes,
okay, to have a summit, a black summit, okay, in the 60s. I want y'all to understand that. It wasn't easy to do that, all right? So I'm just telling y'all, I hold Kareem in, all right, in a different way than other people. Obviously, Michael, LeBron, Magic, Kobe, okay? I think that was 5 that I named. And I could say you, I'm waiting to see how Steph finished, but I would have Steph Curry, okay? As far as that 10, so now there's Steph Curry. I would add Shaq in that. I'd probably add Kevin Durant in that. I think sometimes it's overlooked what he's done. He should have stayed with Golden State. He would have won a couple more, but you can't deny just how great he is. Tim Duncan, all right. 10 is tough. I just gotta tell you, because I'm gonna be biased. I want to say Hakeem, but I'm gonna be biased because I gotta go with my boy Dr. J, because I'm from Roosevelt.
it's just that.
Okay, that's what it is. But you can't even say, come on, man, you forgot, the Hakeem line. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I can't argue. Whether it's Karl Malone, something like that, it's different. But those guys, I feel good about, most of them, saying it's unbelievable, okay? And quite honestly, probably should say Larry Bird in there somewhere, because I would tell you this. Larry Bird and Magic changed the whole game.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
You guys may not know that, but, just kind of like we needed Jackie Robinson for us when we got going, they needed their Larry Bird. And because of Larry Bird, the game went to another height. So I would have to say shout out to Larry and Magic, okay, because that created that rivalry, that created that interest. No different than what Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are now doing for the WNBA.
That's right. That's right. Wow, man. This has been awesome, man.
Thank you.
This has been awesome. See, I know when there's a good show, because my cameraman and producer, Fahim, I watch his face. I watch some time when he's staring at my guests and how I'm amazed, and when his eyes light up, I know we got something special, man. And
I don't know if you're familiar with Khalid.
yeah, I had Khalid on the show.
Yeah. So Khalid used to be one of my coaches.
You had the OTE program,
exactly,
right? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I helped him get that job.
Okay.
So so that was them. I forget which event that was that they were together, took a picture. Now look here, LeBron. Now this is the Magic round ball All-American game. And it's so funny, the coach who was coach of the game said, I'm the head coach of the game, and the newspaper people end up taking a picture of you and LeBron instead of me, who was the coach. So that was LeBron and I came and sat next to me at the end of the bench at that game at that time. And it was in the papers the next day in the round ball. And it's actually in the magazine up there too. So obviously that's that one. There's my boy Kenny Smith. Kenny Smith was coming to the big time tournament Fab 48 every year from his kids. Every year he brought them up. He was coaching them, or somebody was coaching them. Came every year to Vegas to the tournament. So that's Kenny. These are my 3 girls right here. Okay, when they were younger out in Vegas, because all my family work in my events. I don't play when it comes to my money. All right, so
because we still at the door. Your wife was at the door.
Hey, in fact, my mom was working too. But a couple years ago, I was like, Mom, you're 80-something years old. You got to stop now. All right, but I had them all there, so they were there, and obviously my wife here did a collage of some of the guys. Said, matter of fact, there's Showtime right here.
Had him on the show as well.
One of my favorite players of all time, Sean Livingston. Sean Livingston is one of the players I had all time ABCD campus also. Sean was just unbelievable, and obviously won a couple championships with the Warriors. So unbelievable, guy. Okay, there. And my boy Charlie Villanueva, he came right after he got an NBA. He came to the camp and said, "Okay, what's my name?" Because Charlie was one of, I think he made the top underclassmen game. And we always put the banners up. So he wanted to see his banner at ABCD camp. So he came, and he was exceptionally close with my daughter at the time. And this one here right now, she's now in San Diego to be and about to graduate in May as a lawyer.
That's awesome.
Okay, but she specialized in sports law. Okay, and all part of using knowing these guys. This picture right here is the day we made the decision Lamar's gonna go pro. And he was holding my daughter who was 2 months old at that time. So that's when the decision was made. You out of here. It's time to go. Okay? And Andrew Gooden, we ended up taking a picture with Andrew Gooden. This was our first year of the Fab 48. His team won the whole thing, Oakland Soldiers. Matter of fact, Lebron was there because he played with them, so Lebron was there for the championship game. Okay, in the stand. And this is a picture from ABCD camp with me and Sonny. This is the way we always were. It was him coming over to sit next to me, saying, "Okay, Gary, what am I looking
get
at?"
that picture out there real quick so we can see that?
That's good right there.
That's good?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, this is what we always were. He'll come over and sit down. Gary, who am I supposed to be looking at? Okay, so I'm the politic guy. Sonny, Dwight Howard's over there. Okay, Melo's over here. So I would every year. This is how we did it. It was amazing. You thought Sonny knew everybody, he didn't. And you forget, like, oh shoot, that's right. The guys are telling him these are the guys. So I would have to point them out. This is so and so, Sonny. Oh, Sonny, OJ's coming. Okay, Sonny, this Derrick Rose's coming. Those type of things. So that was my job to do that. This right here is Melo and Lala. And one thing I'll say about them, they came every year to Vegas to our tournament to see their son. Regardless of what was up, they're together every year. Again, they say that was my daughter when she was a little younger. Forget what old, but they come every year. Russell Westbrook has a team. Team Why Not? They're a Nike team. So they would come every year. Russell would come support. And that's my guy, Thad Fouché. So this is the third guy. It was Sonny and I and Thad. So when Kobe and them, when I told them no, I said, let Thad do it. Okay? And Russell Westbrook turns out to be one of the guys he was representing at the time. And those were the Macon brothers, Thon Maker, who ended up getting drafted by Milwaukee. So that's some of those guys. We have Charlie. This is the year when I think we won the championship in Vegas, 2001. Here's Skip. Okay, Skip would come every year. Obviously come and support. There you go, see 548 in the back. Here comes Skip. That's Skip right there. There's Brandon Jennings. He comes every year. He would come to support. Okay. As a matter of fact, here's Shaheen Holloway. So one year I honored certain people in Vegas. Shaheen was one of the people I honored. Years back. All right. And this Melo's always right there. That's Isaiah taking a picture with my daughter and my wife from way back. And there's a special guy. You know who this guy is? Well, his name happens to be Craig Robinson, Michelle Obama's big brother. Okay, he was coaching at Oregon State at the time, so he would come, to the event. Okay, here's the year that Speedy and Lamar were co-MVP at I-State after we beat it. This was after we beat Riverside in one of our championship. All right, so yeah. A lot of stuff here, man.
See you on Krzyzewski right here. That's you on my Krzyzewski right
so
there.
That's Coach K in Vegas at the big time. At the time, Lamar came 1 year.
And this trophy case, man, like all the years, like.
Obviously, there's a lot of trophies not here because my wife, man, she wants to throw half of them away. Because one thing about ISA is that the trophies were, 7 feet tall. So
right.
So they're not even here.
Right.
Right now. And we won 22 championships.
Wow.
Over the years. Whether it was Wally Szczerbiak or the Lamar Odom and Speedy Claxton years, the Charlie Villanueva years, the Jason Frazier's years. I mean, we just, we were piling them up. But then we have national tournaments or events that down North Carolina, across the country. just, keep, coming in. That's what my wife said. Like, what am I supposed to do with all these trophies? They don't stop. You have trophies up there, trophies there, and there's some in the, in the garage, still.
Yeah, trust me, I know them things collect dust. You gotta clean them.
And I give it to my wife, man. That's why I said, you know what? And she said, you know what? I'm gonna convert this, because this was a bedroom. And she said, I'm gonna convert this room into this, because my two oldest moved down to Maryland. They married. The oldest has a kid. They're doing their thing. They, great job. So boom. And the last one, the baby, like I said, she's about to get that law degree. Okay, she's killing me, man. She's killing me. That's the one that kills me. That's the bougie one, man. Okay, oh bougie. So that's that's them over here, and got some pictures with some different families. Look, this picture here is just a Round Ball All-American. I think there's at least 12 pros in that picture.
Wow.
Your boy Shoes is there too. I'm looking at him.
Yeah.
There you go, right there, that bum. That's my guy, man. Yeah. He recruited my first guy that far back, Felly Dickinson. So you're right, in the late 80s.
Yeah.
Yep. So you see the pros, and I think this is what, Curtis? Is that Curtis and Alan Ray? That might be Curtis and Alan Ray in that picture for the round ball, right there.
Wow.
Yep.
And I see you got some books from my people, man. I see my guy.
So let me tell you.
Munch is up here. I got that book as well.
Yep.
He came on the show and did that.
Yeah. I tell you, it's funny about me, because I took the train every day to work. I used to read a lot of gangster books, drug books, and all that stuff, because I wanted to make sure I knew why I didn't want to be on that side of the world.
Right.
And I wanted to know what made them tick. Why do you do what you do? And you start to understand. So I read, all kind of books about that. So you'll see, like Blood Money, and all these things. I mean, just terrific books. Like, wow, look, let me read these things. I mean, it was just, phenomenal books, man. So that became a thing for me, reading books and understand what's going on. Obviously, the Kobe, book, I'm in the book. So it was important, for me to read that. And look, this magazine right here, look at this. You talk about, ABIS, right? BAM. So this was about, look, Brent Crump right here with us, because Brent Crump is part of us, ABIS. So they did a story about ABIS, on that. So I'm just as proud of this and as anything else I've done.
Right. All right. Before we leave, I want to get favorite mob movies real quick, because I'm a mob movie buff, man.
Yeah. Well, it's easy. The Godfather is my number one. I actually just watched it again for the 30th time, probably 3 days ago. Phenomenal. I tell you who I'm really impressed with. They did a couple years ago was that The Irishman.
Yes.
It was really, really good. Really good. Loved Goodfellas.
Goodfellas.
Okay.
That's my joint right there,
Man.
boy. That's what
Okay.
I love mob movies that's got narration behind
it.
Yeah.
So that was really good. And in fact, last week I watched again Casino.
Yes.
Okay, that was good. So those are, some of my top, mob movies. I'm just all into.
And Bronx Tale. I like Bronx Tale too.
Dude.
Great narration.
That's like my top 10. Let me tell you something, okay? And I took this to heart. If she doesn't unlock that door, let her go.
That's a fact.
Let her go.
That's a fact.
And I did that with everybody. You better open that goddamn door. I'm watching. Okay, so yeah, Bronx Tale, baby, without a doubt, man.
And the last part in that movie, and we're gonna wrap it up with this. One of the things that I loved about that movie is when he was with his friends. The young character was with his friends, and they was about to go to the black neighborhood and do that crime.
How about that?
But he didn't have the guts to. It took the older gentleman, the mentor, to come and say, you know what?
Get out the car.
Get out the car.
Get out the car.
Get out the car. Because sometimes young kids don't have that train of thought to make that decision.
And this is what I'm saying to you about Lamar. Lamar could never on his own say no. So I always had to be that guy. No. I tell people all the time, I could write 3 books on Lamar Odom alone. Okay? You don't understand what it took us for us to get him to the NBA. All true stuff. So you're right. Get out the car. Because he couldn't have done that by himself. All right? And that's why, honestly, I've always appreciated that. I've always had a mom and a dad. Because my dad wasn't going to play that. All right, so my dad played a major role, in my life, and I understand sometimes. Yeah.
My man. Appreciate you, brother.
It's all good, man. It's all
No
good.
doubt. We are out, y'all. Y'all know what it is. Glenpool Harding Basketball Heads, the official home for New York basketball. Peace.
Y'all ready? Yeah. You have just stepped out into the world of